towering fly ball, a slider deep to right. That's going to carry. That is gone.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, it's 11:08. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. A lot to get into, not a lot of time to do so. Nolan Gorman, very good last night. That's what it sounded like on FanDuel Sports Midwest. 3 for 3, had the home run. Alex, I've been saying this for a few weeks now. I don't think that Nolan Gorman is a perfect baseball player. He is incredibly flawed. He doesn't hit the ball a whole lot, but when he does, it goes very far. He does not play great defense, but he's fine and getting better at third base. And Alex, over his last 60 games, he's batting .230. That ain't great, but he has an OPS nearing 800. That's pretty darn good. He has 12 home runs in those 60 games. That's a full season pace of 33. I would sign up for that from a Cardinals player. Don't see that a whole lot from Cardinals players these days. Alex, I know this sounds weird because I don't think he's as good of a baseball player as Brendan Donovan or Lars Nootbaar, Burleson, etc. I think Nolan Gorman has officially worked his way into the Cardinals' plans for 2026. I don't know how much value he would have on the trade market. I do know that he has a lot of value to this team, which doesn't have a lot of power elsewhere.
Well, you could correct your statement by saying, I don't know if he's better. I mean, he's not better than those. But the problem is he's got something that all of those guys don't have. Like, Nolan Gorman is probably one of the most flawed players for the Cardinals because of that swing and miss and just the inconsistencies. But they don't have anybody else who profiles as somebody who could hit 35 bombs in a season. And look, I mean, I have been critic number one for Nolan Gorman in terms of he's just too inconsistent for me. But since May, the guy really hasn't been inconsistent. He's been the same guy. He's hitting home runs. He's hitting power. He's still striking out.
He goes through slumps, but whatever, man.
But the slumps are seeming to right themselves back, and if you're still hitting for power, that's the one thing the Cardinals don't have. So as much as I think Brendan Donovan is a better player and, frankly, is more suited for a DNA of what the Cardinals are trying to get to, they don't have anybody else who can showcase the power that Nolan Gorman can. And, look, if this is the guy that he is starting to form into, luckily for him, he can play two positions for the Cardinals in the infield. The problem is they just got to figure out what to do with the other third baseman that they got on their roster.
Yeah, I know I'm falling for it, but I think he needs to be a part of the group going into next year because of the power swing. I mean, look, I can live with the strikeouts long as you end up being about a 30 home run guy. And if you look at his numbers since that Kansas City series when they were at home on June the 5th, he's on pace for like 30 home runs if per 162 pace. So I look at that and I go, okay, I can live with the strikeouts long as you are this power left-handed bat that I know is going to go through ebbs and flows. It's the one thing, as Alex said, you just don't have in the organization. You don't have this kind of power from the left side. You've got good complementary pieces that have 20 homer power. Gorman's got 30, potentially 35 if things really click into place.
The list of Cardinals in the last 20 years to hit at least 35 home runs in a season. Paul Goldschmidt did it once. Matt Carpenter did it once. Ryan Ludwig did it once. Albert Pujols did it 100 times, seemingly. That's the end of the list. They need this. They're lacking it. They have not produced it within their system. Really, the only guy that was a long-term member of the Cardinals in recent memory that was able to do this was Matt Carpenter. He did it once. He did it one time. And it was honestly maybe the worst thing that could have happened for him because it completely altered the way that he went about his business, and then it fell off from there. We all know the Matt Carpenter story. Nolan Gorman, this is who he is. This is in his ethos as a player. He was born to be a power hitter at the major league level. Again, he's not a perfect player. He was never going to be, but he has become the player that, honestly, the Cardinals expected him to be. When he was in their minor league system, they were just hopeful that there would be more around him to be the supporting members of the roster.
The way I look at it with Nolan Gorman is, like, again, I don't expect this team to be any good next year, and now Nolan Gorman doesn't have that expectation of helping a team get to the playoffs. Now Nolan Gorman can still figure his stuff out, and if it's going to be a bad team, I would much rather have one guy who could be something completely opposite of what the Cardinals have in their entire system versus having three guys who do the same thing every year and will continue to do the same thing. I already know what that looks like. Let's at least give Nolan Gorman a shot and see what it could look like now that you're starting to see changes.
If you guys want to get involved in the show, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. YouTube chat is available for you, as always, at youtube.com/101ESPN-STL. That is where you will be able to watch our interview with Jeremy Maclin, the Mizzou Hall of Famer, coming up here in about 15 minutes. That's right. J-Mac joining the show in 15 minutes.
I see T-Bone's
I'm
not
looking
clapping.
forward to that. Jeremy Maclin will join us to share some of his favorite stories from the Mizzou versus Kansas rivalry, the border war, which he was a part of. Big game coming up in about 48 hours at Mizzou this weekend. So we'll talk to Jeremy Maclin about that in 15 minutes. But coming up next, can the Eagles buck the trend of recent NFC Super Bowl contenders? They look to do that starting tonight. We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK. So the Eagles are trying to buck a trend from the NFC in recent years. If you go back to the Seahawks, 2014, 2015, about 10 years ago now, they went to back-to-back Super Bowls. Since then, no NFC team has made it to back-to-back conference championship games after making it to the Super Bowl. Only 4 of the last 9 representatives from the NFC in the Super Bowl even made it to the playoffs the next year, Alex. Ooh. So just as an example, 2015, the Panthers go to the Super Bowl. That team was amazing. Cam Newton won the MVP. I think they went 15-1 that season. The next year, they go 6-10. It continued from there. The 2018 Rams, T-Bone, you probably remember that. They go to the Super Bowl the next year, they go 9-7. 2019 49ers go to the Super Bowl, lose to the Chiefs, next year go 6-10. 2021 Rams happened again. Go to the Super Bowl, win it, then go 5-12 the next season.
Injuries.
2023 49ers go to the Super Bowl, lose to the Chiefs again. Sound familiar? Then they go 6-11 last season. It happens a lot.
The only teams that ended up making it the following year were the Falcons. They ended up in the divisional round. The 2017 Eagles and the 2022 Eagles both made it the next season to the playoffs, but they go 9-7, 11-6, losing the divisional round, losing the wild card round. Alex, is this the year that it changes? Can this year's Eagles team, which I think we all agree is the best team in the NFC, can they buck the trend of the last decade of NFC teams that made it to the Super Bowl and actually get back to the NFC Championship game or beyond this year?
That one I'm not as certain on. If we're talking about making the playoffs, I'm certain the Eagles are going to be there. But I do think the NFC is open enough that I'm not sure I can guarantee one team being in the conference championship. I like the Eagles. I agree with what you're saying, that they're the best team in the NFC, but I don't know what the Commanders look like in year 2. I think the Commanders have the potential to be right there with what the Eagles did. I don't know what the Lions look like with their new offensive and defensive coordinators. I think their roster has the makings of beating the Eagles and getting to that conference championship. I think the Eagles going into this are the best team in the NFC, but I think by the middle of the season, I could look at the Eagles and say, I think there's about 2 or 3 teams that are same pace with Philadelphia. And in that sense, I think that makes the playoffs that much more wide open in the NFC.
Yeah, see, I would lock them in for the NFC Championship. I think they can buck this trend, because I think they are just deeper and better than any team in the conference. And, I like Washington, don't get me wrong, but I just don't know if they did enough to significantly improve to where they're going to be able to take that next step to catch the Philadelphia Eagles and prevent them from getting to the conference championship game or to win the division, for that matter. And I look across the rest of the NFC, and to me, there's just too many big question marks for a lot of those teams. Like the Rams, for example. Matthew Stafford has this thing called a back that's really broken right now. I look at the NFC South, that division sucks.
He does indeed.
I didn't really know where I was going with it, I'll be honest. You look at the Lions, and they lost their 2.
Didn't know where it was going.
It was like your religion stuff yesterday.
No, that was just a false statement.
Yeah. I look at like the Lions, for example, and go, okay, maybe they'll still be a good team, but they lost their 2 coordinators. I don't know what to make of them until they're on the football field. And then the other teams, like Vikings, are taking a step back, in my opinion, because they've got a new quarterback. Maybe the Packers could take that step, but I'm not going to buy it. I just don't think anybody's going to close that gap to where I would lock in the Philadelphia Eagles.
Can I make the case against it real quick? I don't know how much I believe it, because I'm with both of you. I do believe that the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. I think their roster, when you look at it up and down, it's really freaking good, man. And injuries, yeah, they could derail the season, just as they could for any team in the NFL. If enough injuries take place for the Chiefs this year, things can go really wrong. If enough injuries take place, if Josh Allen goes down for 6 weeks, the Bills are screwed.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a tough year for them as well, because they have so much that are riding on his shoulders. The Eagles are the same way in that regard, but I could say that for anybody. There's one thing that it gives me pause. It's not something that I'm overly concerned about, but it makes me wonder, if this doesn't go in the right direction, could things maybe go sideways for them? Last year, what would you say was the identity of the Eagles' defense?
Pass rush, wasn't it?
Yes.
Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and a couple of the guys that left free agency and
They had
retirement.
8 guys.
Bingo. That last part is what you said that I find to be really interesting. They have guys leaving free agency.
Mm-hmm.
Milton Williams was a really good pass rusher for them. Josh Sweat led the team in sacks a year ago. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to be bad in the pass rush department this year. However, if they are simply good, they're not the best defensive line in the NFL this season. How much does that change the defense? They also lost a couple of guys that contributed on the back end for them defensively as well. The Eagles last year were a very good offense. They were a defensive-minded team, though. Their identity was tied to the running game. Who knows what happens in that regard? Running games can fluctuate year to year, even when, yes, I do believe that Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the league. That can change year over year. And 2, the pass rush. So if those things take a bit of a step back, maybe they go from being what was pretty clearly the best team in the NFL last season to a good team. And they win 11 games, they get to the playoffs, and then somebody is able to upset them in the postseason, and it looks a lot like it did for many of these other teams that I just mentioned. It looks like the Eagles team from 2022, where they go 11-6, losing the wild card round. That's very much in play for this year's Eagles team. I don't think they are without flaw. They do have certain things that could come back to haunt them this year. There just aren't many of them. Most teams I can poke and prod at, and I could say, for the Chiefs, rookie left tackle, first-year starter at left guard, that could go poorly for you. Really
fine
tough
last
schedule
year.
to begin the season. Rashee Rice out for the first 6 weeks. Yeah, I could see how this offense
Start 0-6.
gets off to a slow start. They end up going 11-6, 10-7. They finish probably still atop the AFC West, but then get bolted in the AFC Championship game or something like that. That could happen to the Chiefs. The Eagles, it's the same thing. There are things that I could at least poke at. There just aren't many of them, man. It's really just a couple of things.
I guess the thing that makes me feel confident, it would be like the same answer I would have for like the Chiefs if you were talking about their defense and you brought up their left tackle. So they're not the example I would use here. But like if the Eagles pass rush isn't the same that it was last year, that offense should be good enough to help make up for any kind of drop in production, as long as it's not significant, right?
What
if the defense falls off a cliff,
they have to now play from behind? That is one thing that I do wonder about a bit, because for all of their greatness, they are a team that had a very clear identity. We get up on you, you have to pass, which means that our pass rush gets home, and we get to run the hell out of the football in the second half, which means that we get to lean on our identity of the offense, which is Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts in the running game.
And I do think that's more likely because don't they have some injuries to their offensive line already this season, which has been a main staple? And like I know Dickerson's expected to play, but didn't they have an injury to their center pin from last year or right guard?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, I thought they had an injury to one of their offensive line. Maybe it was just Dickerson and he's back.
Yeah, I guess that is fair. I just look at their offense and go, man, like they should still be good enough to make up, even if they are down. And look, Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. I think he gets a little underrated. I mean, he's taken the Eagles to 2 Super Bowls now. He has the weapons around him, right? Like you can still run the football potentially if you are down and lean on Saquon Barkley to get us back into the game. You've also got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Like they should have enough weapons offensively to where if that defense does take that drop back, I believe that they will be fine. Now, if it falls off of a cliff where it like goes into Bengals territory, yeah, they're in trouble.
No, I don't foresee that.
I don't see that either, and that's why I look at them and I go, man, I just think they're too good to be the team that falls kind of off the cliff like the other NFC teams have in the past.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I don't see them like missing the playoffs entirely. I think that they would be more in line with the Falcons that went 10-6 the next year, the Eagles 2 times they went 9-7 and 11-6 both years they made it to the playoffs, or the 2020 Bucks with Tom Brady where they ended up coming back the next year, they lose in the divisional round. If they fall off, it will be they didn't reach the ceiling that we had all projected for them. Like they end up going 11-6, make it to the playoffs and lose in the wild card or the divisional round. I did want to ask you, because I'm very confident on the Eagles, as are many other people across the public betting sphere. They are not one of the 6 most bet teams, though, this year in terms of their win total for the 2025 season. Saw this from Ben Fox on Twitter yesterday. Most lopsided NFL win total wagers this season. This is by the number of total bets, not the money. So this is the public bets, right? 90% of the money, 90% of the tickets, rather, are on the Packers going over 10.5 wins this year.
Someone
got to buy a public better, apparently.
They got way too excited when the Parsons trade happened. They still their offense still is a little meh.
Yeah,
I would go over on that. I'm with the public. Are you guys over or under the 10.5 for the Packers this year?
I think I would say under. I think they're a 9 or 10 win team.
I agree. Okay. I would lean towards under as well.
It's probably the smart bet. When 90% of people agree on something, generally speaking, it's not a good bet from my side of things.
So I've learned.
84% of people are on the over for the Broncos at 9.5 and the Raiders at 6.5. Over on both of those win totals. Broncos at 9.5 and the Raiders at 6.5. Do you guys feel the same way about both of those teams?
The Broncos, I feel pretty confident in with that one. I don't feel that confident on the Raiders. I know they got Pete Carroll and I know they got Ashton Genty, but I still don't like that team as a unit. So I think I would still take the under on the Raiders, and I like the over on the Broncos.
See, I love the over on the Raiders because I think Pete Carroll's a hell of a football coach, and they've got just a bunch of stable pieces. And then menace when it comes to Max Crosby on defense. They're not a great team, don't get me wrong. They can win 7 or 8 games. Like, I love the Raiders on the over. I would actually lean on the under for the Broncos.
So I like the over on the Broncos, but I think just slightly. 10 wins feels about right.
See, I think they're like 8 or 9. That's why I'd lean under.
I think their defense gives them that extra win.
I so badly want to buy into the Raiders. I so badly want to because the new coach bump, I I mean, Pete Carroll's amazing.
Yeah,
He's one of the best in the league.
I don't disagree with that.
Their defense is so bad, dude. Have you looked at the personnel on that side of the ball? Because I
Other
keep
than Max
looking at
Crosby,
it
nothing.
and saying, man, Pete Carroll's going to get the best out of this group. But what's the best out of this group? It's like saying, I think that, I don't know, Brant Brown is going to get the best out of the Cardinals hitters. Well,
Hey,
sure.
he did for the first 3 months.
But what can you do with this group, right?
Brand didn't need that side swipe.
Damn,
No,
dog.
it wasn't a side
He's a
swipe
friend
on
of the
him.
show.
He's done a good job. That's what I'm saying. I think Pete Carroll will do a good job and maximize the talent.
That hurt, man.
They lack talent. There's only so much you can do. I think last year Lou Anarumo got the most that he could out of that group, man.
And I got him fired.
There's just nothing more to squeeze out of that lemon. So I'm going to go under on the Raiders. That's the first one on these public bets that I like the opposite side of. All right, the next two, Alex, 83% in the NFC South. Over on the Falcons at 7.5. Under on the Saints at 5.5. Two NFC South teams, under on the Saints, over on the Falcons. Are you in agreement with those two?
Under on the Saints, I think that's an easy one. That team's going to be lucky to pick up 1 or 2 wins. The Falcons, man, I would go back and forth with. I'm not bought in on that team. I think their schedule is somewhat difficult. I'm like right there on the fringe of thinking they're like a 7 or an 8 win team. So I guess in the sense of I like the playmakers that they have, and I know it's a different looking unit. I'll say over, but I think it's like 8 or 7.
Alex, I gave you crap yesterday for being way too like, oh, everything's going to be the same. I have all of these. I have the Falcons over. I've got the Saints
it's
under.
the better, so.
I am basically public betting BK over here. That's my new persona.
Yeah, I agree on the Saints one for sure, under 5.5. Like, it would be a walking miracle if Kellen Moore wins 5 games with that roster. The Falcons is the tough. I would lean over because I think they win the division, because I think the Bucs are the team that takes that step back, which means if you're going to win the division, you probably got to get to 9 wins at least. So, yeah, I would say take the over on the Bucs.
All right, last one here.
This one I have a tough time with.
The Chargers, over 9.5 wins for 80% of the tickets. I am going under on this one.
I'm going under on that one. I don't think they have the team that can do that.
The offensive line situation makes me nervous. I'm still a little skeptical on their weapons. Their defense has changed. They don't have Bosa anymore. I think that they will be very well coached, obviously, Jim Harbaugh in charge. Beyond that, though, they just lack any oomph for me. Could they win 8-9 games? Yeah, absolutely. I don't see much more than that, man. And their schedule is really difficult this year as well. You got to go up against the Broncos, Chiefs, and Raiders, who are improved at least this year. I've got them under 9.5 for me. This is one of 2 of the public bets that I'm going the opposite side of. Both of them are unders for me in the AFC West. What could possibly go wrong?
That'll work out.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I would go under on the LA Chargers. I just can't see them getting to 10 wins. Because you're right, they remind me a lot of like old Steelers teams. When I look at the roster and go, yeah, you're good, and like, sure, you got a good head coach. So like, yeah, you're probably gonna finish above 500. Man, I don't want to watch you at all. Like, Justin Herbert's fun. Other than that, there's not a whole lot that really excites me about the Chargers.
Yeah, I don't like their schedule. NFC East, they have to play this year. You've got the AFC West, obviously. The schedule makes me nervous. The lack of roster talent makes me a little nervous. I think they have a lot of very solid players. I think they lack the blue chippers on their side of the ball right now, and I would take the under. So Chargers under for me, Raiders under for me. We will see the Eagles back in action this evening. T-Bone, do we have that right here on 101 ESPN? I normally would be able to tell behind you, but it's a black screen.
I think so.
All right, hopefully you'll be able to hear that right here on 101 ESPN this evening.
We're looking around, seeing if someone can help us.
Eagles versus the Cowboys. It is the NFL season opener right here, I believe, maybe, possibly, on 101 ESPN tonight starting at 7 o'clock. Coming up next, we're going to go back down memory lane with Jeremy Maclin, Mizzou Hall of Famer. The border war is back. He's been a part of this thing. He was a part of one of the biggest games that's ever been played in the history of this rivalry, and Jeremy Maclin will join us to discuss it next here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals took down the Athletics last night 5-1 as they take 2 of 3 from Sacramento. They are off today. They'll be back in action tomorrow night when they start a 3-game set with the San Francisco Giants. 7:15 will be first pitch. Michael McGreevy will be on the mound for St. Louis. And Missouri Tiger Hall of Famer, the former Mizzou wide receiver, Jeremy Maclin, will join the show coming up here next to talk about the border war between Missouri and Kansas. The Sports Center update was driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. SeaMalondoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Yes, it is a big week for the Missouri Tigers as the return of the border war is here. Alex, it's been more than a decade since we've been able to watch Missouri and Kansas play on the football field, but it is back. And joining us now via the Callier and Thompson hotline to be able to break it down, tell some stories, and preview this game between Mizzou and Kansas is the Mizzou Hall of Famer, former Missouri wide receiver, now head coach at Kirkwood, Jeremy Maclin, joining us here on the show. Jeremy, appreciate the time, man. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. Appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely. Thrilled to have you. So, Alex grew up here in St. Louis. I know you did as well. I was on the Kansas City side of things growing up. This was the game. It was not Mizzou versus Illinois. On the Kansas City side of things, it was Mizzou versus Kansas. I've never played in this game, though, Jeremy. You have. You got to see what it was like in Kansas City in 2007, one of the biggest games in program history. Can you take us back to that time in your life when you knew what was at stake on that day? What was it like to be a part of such a big rivalry and such a huge game nationally, given what it meant for you guys?
Well, it was awesome, man. Just knowing, like you said, knowing not only about the rivalry and what it means to both universities and to both really, like, communities and states and fan bases, but it was our chance to go to the Big 12 championship. It was also a chance to, for us, I guess the winner of that game was going to be number 1 in the country, and then, have a chance to eventually play for the national championship if you took care of business in the Big 12 championship. So, it was kind of like an extra added element to already what is a huge game. So, I mean, it's a one-in-a-lifetime type of experience, man. It goes down in history. And it goes down in history as one of the best wins in Mizzou history, but also just one of the best atmospheres, one of the best really moments that we've had for Missouri football.
Jeremy, I'm curious because like that first year you were 19 years old, like it was such a hated rivalry when Mizzou and Kansas played each other, and you grew up in Missouri, so I'm sure you were a Mizzou fan. You already saw that rivalry. But, man, what's that like as a 19-year-old where you probably have hatred towards the Jayhawks, but you see it that's been instilled in that team, that university for so long?
Man, you know what? When you're in it and you're playing, you understand what's going on and kind of, how big the game is. But man, you're kind of preparing for a game. And like I said, because that 07 game, there were so many other, we were worried about that and trying to keep the main thing and not getting caught up too much into like everything else that was going on. So, and that's really the type of, athlete I am just in general. If you get caught up in a lot of the peripheral stuff, man, and sometimes it gets tough to go out there and do what you need to do. And I think I learned it at a very young age.
Did you see some of your teammates, though, maybe get more caught up in that rivalry than what you did?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, absolutely. You got the chance, you got everything that leads up to it. You got the, and now, it's even bigger now talking about just the social media platform, and being able to kind of go back and forth and banter with fans or whatever the case may be. But you definitely seen guys get caught up in it. And honestly, my family got really caught up in it as well. So, it was definitely all around you. But like I said, I've had the ability to just kind of as an athlete, man, just kind of try to stay in the moment. Not saying I don't get nervous, not saying things don't get me excited, but try not to get too high, try not to get too low, man, and just understand what I have to get done.
When you say your family gets involved with it, out of curiosity, what are you referencing there? Are you talking about like them talking trash, or was there something more to it?
A little bit of everything. You know, my surrogate family. I mean, you talk about deep, like, hatred for Kansas. Like, absolutely.
We're talking to Jeremy Maclin here on 101 ESPN, and now you're removed from it a little bit. You're not the athlete anymore that's getting ready to play this week. Like, it sounds as though your mindset is what Eli Drinkwitz is trying to provide for his team this week. He talked about, hey, we understand what this game means, but also it's a game. Like, we got to go out there and play this weekend. Now you're a fan, just like me and Alex over here. What is this week like for you going into it as a fan instead of as the athlete that's going to be participating on the field?
Man, you know, I'm just trying to enjoy a good football game. You know, I think that you know, I'm so happy that it's back. I'm so happy that you know, really just anytime I see old rivalries in college football come back, I'm all for it, man. With the landscape of college football and all the conferences realigning and things changing, man, it's good to see some of that old tradition come back. You know, and I know that, hey, you know, our expectations are, hey, we're trying to make the college football playoffs. We're trying to take that next step. And it's going to be really hard to do that if you drop one out of conference. We know how loaded the SEC is. We know each and every week you got to bring it. So that's also another message that I'm giving the kids is that, man, in order to obtain what we want to attain, like, we got to take care of business, you know, this one. And yes, you got all the rivalries and everything, but, like, our goal is to play in the college football playoffs. It's really hard in the SEC to drop one out of conference and still make that, you know, obtain that goal.
Jeremy, I know Eli mentioned he's reached out to a lot of guys to come back and do kind of a speaker series, whether it's on this game or just in general to talk with the players. What's your relationship been like with Eli Drinkwitz and the program? Have you been able to do some of that?
Yeah. No, it's been great, man. We have you know, open lines of communication. You know, he reaches out to me, I reach out to him. We talk. I just had him on our podcast the other day, last week. So we have a really, really good relationship. You know, I think he understands that I'm in the grind of things as well right now. So it's tough for me to go out there and kind of take up some time and go do that at this particular moment. But I've been up, you know, in the off season. I've done a lot of different things there. So we have a really good relationship.
Jeremy, obviously you mentioned your duties are with Kirkwood right now as a high school football coach, but I'm sure you're still a huge college football fan. Where do you feel like the state of college football is right now compared to when you were playing?
Oh boy, Jeremy, it's a little different.
It's way different. You know, I think that I'm looking for the same thing everybody else is looking for. Just kind of like, you know, what's the new foundation? Like, where is it headed? What does it mean? How can you get these West Coast teams flying to the East Coast to play? Like, just where are we going? Like, what's the new norm? What can we expect? So I'm kind of looking for, you know, is this going to get approved or not with the roster cut down and the NIL stuff? So I think I'm looking for a lot of the same things that everybody else is looking for. And even myself, you know, I kind of, you know, I'm kind of been more, you know, interested in all that stuff because I got kids that are going to go to college and are going to have to sit there and have these talks with these coaches about NIL stuff or all these other things. So I'm just looking for some direction and some clarity on like what are we to expect? Like when can we figure out what are the rules, what aren't the rules, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense.
What has been your experience with that, Jeremy? Like when you have a kid that's getting recruited by a D1 program and they start talking about, you know, what the financial incentives could be for that player, what is the coach's responsibility there? How do you talk with the kids about that stuff?
Well, I think first and foremost, I have to let the kid know that, yeah, that's a big part of what it is now. You know, so I have to be very open and honest with them. And, you know, even sometimes, you know, I kind of, you know, research and look up certain things that, you know, people may get, or you hear rumors or about, you know, what certain guys in certain schools or certain classes are getting. And you just provide them with all the information that you can provide them with. I'm not negotiating things with kids. I'm not doing any of that stuff. That's not my place. And right now, the one kid that I, and I have other kids, but the one kid right now that I really have, he committed to University of Illinois. That's Marcus Golden's cousin. So he has also myself. He has Marcus Golden. He has his brother who played college ball. So you just try to educate them as much as possible on what it is now, what it looks like, and also if I got numbers about what this school has typically given to this position of incoming freshmen. You just try to get all information possible.
Do you ever think about what would have been possible for you, Chase, Kaufman?
That's a slippery slope. That's a slippery slope. But yeah, you think about it, of course.
Sure.
You think about it. Yeah.
Those teams, they were fun as hell to watch. I was a kid growing up in Kansas City watching those teams. They were a hell of a lot of fun. I know it for a lot of people that are going to be at Mizzou this weekend. Those were their favorite teams growing up or as adults to be able to watch. So it's changed a lot, but there's going to be a lot of familiar faces, I have to imagine, in the stands over the next 48 hours. Jeremy, are you planning to go back this weekend?
I'll be there. I'll be there.
Love it.
Got a signing at 12:30 with Denario, Spoon, Justin Britt, Marcus Golden, and Chase Kaufman. And then we'll be in the building, man. We'll be in the building, and, I couldn't miss this one.
It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Hey, Jeremy, thanks so much for hopping on with us today, man. All the best to you. Congratulations on the Week 1 victory. We wish you and your team nothing but the best the rest of the way. Somebody on the text line said, please take it easy on Webster in this year's Turkey Day game. Talk to you again soon, my man.
Not happening.
Appreciate you, Jeremy. Thanks so much,
Appreciate
man.
you guys.
Thanks, Jeremy.
That's Jeremy Maclin, Mizzou Hall of Famer, former wide receiver, joining us here on 101 ESPN. Sincerely appreciate his time. Man, I got goosebumps when he was listing off all those names that are going to be there this week. Those were the dudes.
Yep, Justin Britt. Oh, man.
Spoon.
Yep.
Kaufman. I mean, those are the guys that, as I was growing up in Kansas City, they made me want to be a Mizzou fan, right? Like, growing up, Mizzou, Kansas, I'm trying to think of how I can explain this to people because I don't know that it had the same draw in St. Louis as it did in Kansas City. And that's not me denigrating any of this. It's probably more similar to the bragging rights game of what it is here in St. Louis because it's divided here, right? On one side of St. Louis, you've got Illinois fans, and on the other side, you've got Mizzou fans by and large. That's what it was for me growing up, Alex. I would have kids in my class because I grew up in Kansas City. My upbringing, as a child, was on the Kansas side. I grew up in Kansas City, Kansas, and Overland Park. And so, most of my classmates growing up were Kansas fans, and I grew up as a Mizzou fan. So you would go to class, and there would literally be clashes over who's going to win that weekend. But the bigger thing for most of my childhood was the basketball game. It was Mizzou versus Kansas. That was always a rivalry on the football field, don't get me wrong, but neither team was particularly good, especially Kansas. And so, it just wasn't a huge deal, even though the hatred was there between the two sides. The basketball game was the one.
Yeah.
And then 2007 happened, and everything changed.
That's when I became that's probably the moment that I became a huge Mizzou fan.
And when that game happened, all of the hatred that you felt during the basketball games, which were huge, every year that was the game, you had to be there for it. The football game took that on. And then 3 years later, boom, it's gone. It's gone, never to be played again. It's man, wait, what, college football is trending in a direction now that we lose this? This is what college football is going to lose because of the money grab that all of these conferences are taking? That is the heart of what college sports are supposed to be. And so it makes me happy that we have this back in our lives. It makes me even happier, though, that we have it in a year where both teams are fighting for something. KU appears to be a decent squad this year. Jalen Daniels is back. He's healthy. They've got a really good coach in place right now. So the fact that it is not only Mizzou versus Kansas, but that both teams are competitive right now and playing at a relatively speaking high level for their respective programs, that makes it even that much more highly anticipated. So it was the perfect year to get this thing back on the up and up.
Yeah.
Man, I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for Saturday.
I know. Flashes you back to 2007 when you had two teams that were just so damn good and the rivalry that was there. And the one question I was going to ask, which we kind of segued out of it, so I didn't want to go back to it. But, there's still rivalries in college football, but I don't know how many you have that has that type of hatred. Like, there's a lot of them.
North Carolina Duke on the basketball side, Michigan Ohio State on the football side.
Michigan Ohio State is probably to the level that KU and Mizzou hatred was, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is rooted, it's rooted in history.
Yeah.
Like, it's rooted in, going back to the
Civil War era.
Civil War era.
Yeah.
Like, this is bigger than just a football or a basketball rivalry. The two sides legitimately, there was bloodshed between these two sides a couple hundred years ago. So, yeah, there is real legitimate hatred to the point where there has been violence. I mean, the urban legend, whether you believe it or not, is that the reason this game was held on the football side in Kansas City when the games were first started is because neither of the two campuses felt comfortable hosting those games on their respective campuses because of the fear of violence.
Yeah.
That's at a minimum the urban legend that's been told about this series. Yeah, it's something pretty special, and I'm excited to have it back. Thanks to Jeremy Maclin for joining us, kind of going down memory lane with him. Appreciate the time as always. If you missed our conversation, be sure to check it out on the podcast page after the show today, 101ESPN.com, and the free 101 ESPN app is where you go to find it. That is always sponsored by
Shea Fedor Company.
Coming up next, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers here on 101 ESPN.
Accidents can happen in the blink of an eye, especially in a busy city like St. Louis. Whether you're a rideshare driver or passenger, injuries can leave you feeling lost, confused, and unsure of where to turn. At Kaufman Townsley, we understand. We're from here. We live in St. Louis, and we know what it takes to fight for the rights of our neighbors. We're here to help you through the difficult time with the experience and care you deserve. Kaufman Townsley, real people, real results. Call 314-500-5000. That's 314-500-5000.
Tanner Hendrickson here to tell you about my friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, which is coming soon to the Show Me State, and you can sign up today. New Missouri customers can get $300 in bonus bets when we launch on December 1st, so download now and place a $5 bet when DraftKings Sportsbook goes live. It brings you everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when DraftKings DraftKings Sportsbook officially goes live in Missouri, you'll be betting with the Sportsbook app trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and has fast money withdrawals. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use my code Tanner to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. That's code Tanner in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Ring the bell. We've done it again. Golden Oak Lending has lowered rates to 4.875 fixed. Lower your monthly payment, get cash out, pay off credit cards, and best of all, make no mortgage payments for 2 months. Lock in this incredible 4.875 rate and get your cash in as little as 14 days. Call 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
5.81 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
We're right back to more of it. It's BK and Ferrario on 101 ESPN.
Three 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and get them in right now on the Air Comfort Service text line. From Artificial Unintelligence, can you guys name another team that has their biggest rival in a different conference? South Carolina Clemson, I think, would fit into that criteria.
Florida State. I don't know if
Florida's
it's hated,
might be
though.
Georgia.
Yeah.
That I would throw into that category. Notre Dame versus USC would probably. USC UCLA is a big one, but UCLA versus USC would be another one that I would throw into that criteria. I mean, there are more now than there were as recently as a couple of seasons ago.
Iowa State, but I don't know how big that really is.
It's a pretty big one.
Up in Iowa.
They care about it up there. Nationally, it might not register the same way. I mean, Miami, Notre Dame, we just saw it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how you classify Notre Dame, though. So, like, they don't technically have a conference, so I guess it would technically be a different conference. But yeah, there's a few that would be put into this criteria.
Illinois Mizzou. Yeah.
You see this at the end of every year. Georgia
rivalries.
Tech is another one that I think they play every year.
Oh, yeah, that one's pretty hated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right,
Georgia typically dominates.
314-399-96. For a while, it was Texas versus Texas A&M. They didn't play, but they were in separate conferences, and they do not like one another. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. From the 314, would you rather be a fan of a team like Florida State that lives and dies by the portal but has highs and lows, or would you rather be Clemson in the post-dynasty era that isn't very active in the portal but is consistently a top 15 team in the country and rarely lives up to their championship caliber status? I'd rather be Clemson. The highs and lows suck, man. The highs are great. The lows are really brutal. You have an entire season that's just lost. Clemson, every year, most games matter. And in college football, there's value in that. And I still think Clemson could, like this year, Clemson could go to the college football playoff. So I would rather be Clemson than Florida State.
I think I agree with that one. Although I do like the idea of, like, if my team is missing one piece to make them really good and I go to the portal, I think I would much rather have something that every single year is considered a top 15 team, and even if they're not portal, you know they're going to be competitive.
Yeah, I think I would go Clemson. I think it's closer than someone anticipates, because I think the most frustrating thing as a fan, and I think BK is going to disagree with me here, is...
Have fun, man.
No. But when you are close enough to getting over that line and not going there. And Clemson is that right now.
It's very frustrating.
Dabo continues to recruit well, build these good teams, but because he doesn't want to go into the portal, he's not going to get over the top. Like, I know everybody wanted to see that this year of, hey, Dabo's doing it different. Dabo's going to make a point. Let's just be honest. Clemson might make the playoff. They're going to be what they were last year. If they get in, they're out in the first round.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. A couple of questions left here on questions and answers from the 618. Who is the player in the Cardinals system that you're most excited about other than J.J. Weatherholtz? Somebody just posted about this actually on Twitter. Joshua Baez seems to be figuring it out down in the Cardinal system right now. He's playing very well, but if I'm giving my honest answer, it's Rhino Rodriguez. He's just like 5 years away. But he's in high A ball right now, and at that level, he absolutely crushed the ball last month. He has 20 home runs in 80 games this season. He's 18 years old. He is also a really interesting build. He's like 5'9", 200 and some odd pounds. So he's a short boy, but he has some serious power. It's his first year in the Cardinal system. Rhino Rodriguez would be the guy that I'm the most excited about from their system, but he's so far away that I have no idea what to do with him.
Yeah. Mine's probably Liam Doyle, and I think I saw that he's getting a start. We're going to actually get to see him. He's probably the one because I think Tebow mentioned this in the open. I can't remember the last time the Cardinals had this highly touted of a pitching prospect in their system, other than Reyes. But that flamed out pretty quick.
I don't know, man. Reyes was like a legit top 10 prospect in baseball.
What I mean was once you saw him and then the injuries kicked in, it was like, okay, well, I don't know if it's ever going to be that type of hype.
Yeah, I would probably go to Doyle just because he should be like an ace caliber pitcher with how dynamic his stuff is, and you get to see him this weekend. Rodriguez is a good one because you mentioned that home run power. He's doing at their spring training complex, and it is hard to hit home runs down there at Palm Beach. So that's really impressive. One guy that I'm interested in too, as just to be different from you two, that Tanner Franklin, who they took in like the second or third round this year, flame-throwing right-hander. He's appeared 2 or 3 times at Peoria already, which I find interesting that they put him in high A. And he's been pretty good, and he's got electric stuff. I'm fascinated to see what they do with him.
He's T-Bone. That's Alex. I'm BK. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show. Coming up in about 15 minutes, what are we hoping to learn from the Illini and Mizzou this weekend? We'll get into that in 15 minutes, continuing our college football conversation. But next, if the Cardinals are planning to dip into free agency at any point in the next 3 years, in a real way, like a significant dip into free agency, Alex, I'm going to make the case that this offseason is the time that they should go about doing so. We'll talk about that next year on 101 ESPN. All right, Alex, so last night I was trying to do something where I was going to look into, okay, over the next couple of seasons, here are some of the free agents that would make sense for the Cardinals. They're obviously not going to dip into free agency this offseason, so if they're going to in 2026 or 2027, and they're going to push as you start to see this young core develop together, J.J. Weatherholt gets up, Liam Doyle gets up, we see Quinn Matthews, and it all coalesces to a solid team, but then you need to supplement that with external talent. Here are the players that they should go out and acquire. And then I looked at the free agency classes, and I was like, whoa, wait. Okay, well, maybe it's 2027. No. Free agency classes stink the next couple of years, dude. I'll go ahead and read you off some of the top names that are available, either in 2026 or 2027. So next year's free agent class includes Pete Alonso. If he doesn't opt out this year, he's probably going to. Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lau, Alec Boehm, J.P. Crawford, Cody Bellinger, Randy Arozarena, 33 years old.
Been there, done that.
Adolis Garcia, Jorge Soler. Okay, well, that's not going to work.
Cardinals.
2027, Adley Rutschman, William Contreras. Just add another Contreras to the mix.
Well,
maybe
by that time,
work.
won't Wilson be gone?
We'll get the better version.
Yeah, get the other one.
Freddie Freeman.
He'll be like 50.
Yeah.
He fits.
Ozzy Albies.
Yeah.
Jeremy Pena.
We don't need any more infielders.
Geraldo Perdomo. Anthony Santander, Stephen Kwan. Okay, you get the point.
Sucks.
This list is not good at all. Jock Peterson is the best DH available.
What's 2030 look like?
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to keep going and going and going, and then maybe you reach the place where some of these players are actually hitting free agency. Now, eventually, somebody will. Eventually, you will get the next Kyle Tucker or the next Bo Bichette. Or you could just dip into free agency this year and say, forget waiting. Let's start this now, not have to worry about the next couple of off seasons when the free agent crop is legitimately horrible, as I just told you. There are no blue chip talents. It's just a lot of players like what you already have internally here. Alex, I know, and somebody on the text line already brought this up. Guys, you're kidding yourselves if you think that the Cardinals are going to go do this. I'm not telling you the Cardinals will do what I'm saying. I'm telling you they should. I'm telling you that if the Cardinals truly are suggesting that we are going to get back to contention, and when we do, we will supplement this talent with external pieces. That's their plan, allegedly. Well, this is probably the offseason when you should do that because the talent's actually available. It's not only a demand thing for the Cardinals where we are demanding the talent, it's a supply thing. Right now, there is at least one blue chip player available in Kyle Tucker. There's another really good player available in Bo Bichette this offseason. And I don't think he would play shortstop for you. He'd probably be either a second or a third baseman.
Oh, good. Positions
here in St.
that,
Louis.
Are wide open for the Cardinals right now.
Well, the thing is, you could then use your surplus of talent to trade from. All right, we signed Bo Bichette. We are going to trade from this talent that we have at second and third base, and we'll go get more of what we don't currently have, either high-level minor league talent or pitching talent, right? Like that's what you could do there. I think Bichette is a fun idea. I don't know that it makes a ton of sense for the Cardinals, and if I'm being totally honest, I'm not sure he's the type of talent that you would look at, and if he was here, you would say, all right, yeah, that is obviously a player that not only are you building around, but reaches the level of a Harper, like the top of the top.
And I know the Cardinals fell victim to this with Tyler O'Neill saying, hey, we have Bryce Harper, but I feel like Bo Bichette, you hope J.J. Weatherholt can become Bo Bichette.
Possibly, sure.
And that's kind of where it's like, do I need that versus what we actually need?
I like it. I would love to have it. Am I interested in paying $30 million to $25 million a year for it? I'm not so sure.
Agreed.
Kyle Tucker seems like the guy. Mm-hmm. You're missing outfielders. Well, he plays the outfield. Does it pretty well,
You didn't say Schwarber, though, buddy.
I know. I love Kyle Schwarber. It's just not realistic. He wouldn't fit this criteria.
We're building together.
Yeah. Kyle Tucker, one of the things that I like about him is he's 28 years old. He'll be 29 next year. He's still in his prime. That is actually one of the things that could also be a draw for Bo Bichette. He's 27. Mm-hmm. He's young. So you're building around a player that is still in his prime. Kyle Tucker does stuff that you have nobody on your roster that's capable of doing this. Over the last 5 seasons, really, he's been 40+% above league average offensively. Who on this team could you name that you feel confident will have a season in the next 5 years where they approach that level of offensive production?
Nobody.
I mean, this is J.D. Martinez type of production, but with plus defense and plus base running. He's also consistently stealing 20 to 25 bags a year, at times more than that.
And fills the void that you lack the most in your organization.
Now, he's another left-handed hitter.
Well, that's not what I meant.
That's
outfielder, but
something to consider here.
But you can move on from the 6 left-handed hitters that you have to go get a right-handed hitter.
I saw earlier today Jeff Passan had a piece in which he wrote about the upcoming offseason and what guys are going to get paid, who the top names are, and all of that. Kyle Tucker was the first player that he wrote about. And he said he thinks that the best comparison for what Tucker could get in free agency, not necessarily in terms of how good of a player he is, but what he could likely get in free agency, is Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts signed a 12-year deal worth $365 million that started in his age 28 season. This deal for Kyle Tucker will start in his age 29 season. So maybe you're looking at like 11 years, $350 million. It's roughly $30 million per year. Alex, not only do I think the Cardinals won't do that, but I think the Cardinals should do that.
I agree.
I think this is the kind of move that would also, if I'm a Cardinals fan, I would see it and I would say, all right, they're not lying to me. They're being honest about their aspirations. They are going to supplement the homegrown talent with a star. I now have somebody that I can latch onto and say, he's ours for the next 10, 12 years, however long. They have a dude in the middle of their order that can really produce. So to me, I know text line, you can yell at me all you want. They're not going to do this and it's pie in the sky, all of that. That's fine. I'm not telling you what they will do this offseason. I'm telling you what I think they should do this offseason. And if they decide not to do it, it will be a pure money decision. But this is the kind of thing that Texas did to get their rebuild back on track. This is the thing that San Diego did with Manny Machado to push their rebuild forward. This is the thing that Philadelphia did when they were ready to get good. They signed Bryce Harper to get that thing going, right? When New York was ready to start producing talent from within, they went and traded for Francisco Lindor and then signed him to a big long-term contract. This could be your version of that. They won't do it, but they should.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying because you go out there and you get not only a guy that you're building around, a building block for your roster, but you also fill a void that you know, or at least it really is very likely you're not going to fill that spot internally because you don't have a whole lot of outfielders that you feel confident in. But it's also the guy that eases the stress of every other player on your roster because you've got that centerpiece, and Kyle Tucker can handle that pressure. It's why he signed with the Cubs, and he's been successful more times than not with Chicago. It's the way that the Cardinals can at least entice their fan base to say, like, hey, look, this is not going to be all doom and gloom. It's not just rebuild city. We think we can compete, but we're still waiting for some of these younger players to develop. But in the time being, we've got this guy that can at least keep us competitive, and then the rest of the roster can continue to develop. Plus, it gives you a lot more versatility to look at what you have on your roster that is a lot of the same and say, now let's do what we've been told Chaim Bloom is really good at, identifying talent on other rosters and start to wheel and deal a little bit. Look at a couple of your infielders and say, hey, we got a lot of these guys. Let's go find a right-handed bat that we need. Or let's go find another pitcher that we could put into this rotation.
Kyle Tucker is 10th in Major League Baseball in OPS plus since 2021 among qualified hitters. 10th. Guys that are behind him include Corey Seager, Mookie Betts, Matt Olson, Kyle Schwarber, Rafael Devers, Jose Ramirez. Like, we're talking about superstar level talent that is worse than him offensively over the last 5 seasons than Kyle Tucker. That doesn't mean he's guaranteed to be the same player over the next 5 seasons. We've seen this before. Sometimes things go south and you get it wrong. And you get a guy in his late 20s, early 30s, and oh boy, the cliff came quicker than we expected it to. He's the kind of player that I'd be willing to bet on, though. And when you look out there in free agency over the next few years, there just aren't players like this that are going to be attainable for you. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at it in the next 3 seasons, if at any point in time you're planning to spend in the next 3 years, if that is the current plan for the front office, this is the time when you should do it. If you're not planning to spend at any point in the next 3 years, I got bigger questions to ask, personally. Because if it's going to take 4+ years for you to get this thing back on track, how are you planning to get this thing back on track? How could it possibly take that long in a market like St. Louis, a city this crazed for baseball, to get yourself back on track. So, yeah, if it's going to be in the next 3 years, this should be the offseason. It won't be because they choose not to. They'll sit out once again. But like, if they could salary dump Sonny Gray, if that's what it takes to be able to make the money work for 2026, I would do that in a heartbeat. Because it's a one-for-one replacement of the salary from what you have with Sonny Gray right now to what you could potentially have in Kyle Tucker. And Tucker could be here for the long term.
I think the text line asks the question that's also the hard part for this to even work is why would Kyle Tucker even want to come here?
Money, history, and to be the part of something where you're building the next version of the Cardinals. I don't think it's as hard of a sell as people
I think there are other teams that are willing to spend more money, and if you're him and you go from Houston to Chicago being competitive and you see what the Cardinals have done over these last few years, that doesn't entice me very much. That winning's right around the corner.
You could sell him on, you could do what you did this year in Chicago. You could do that here in St. Louis. Like, Chicago wasn't in a better spot than what St. Louis is. Over the last 5 seasons.
They had better pitchers that, in terms of, gave you a level of optimism than what St. Louis has.
This year they did. 2 years from now, the Cardinals could be in a very similar spot. It doesn't take long to get in a position similar to where the Cubs are. Cubs over the last 5 years, 71 wins, 74 wins, 83, 83, and this year they're actually good. If you're telling me the Cardinals can't go from 80 to 82 wins over the last couple of years to 2 years from now winning 90 games, yeah, they absolutely could. They'll choose not to potentially, but they could.
Yeah, they could.
And guys like Kyle Tucker will make that possible.
It would require signing Tucker and then being willing to spend as well on the roster. Money. And that's where they wouldn't be willing to do it.
And they still have to figure out how to get rid of the contracts that are on the books.
I mean, if you trade Donnie, you trade Nootbaar, that should bring you back a pretty decent amount of pitching in return. You've got Liam Doyle coming through the system right now. TK Roby maybe will get healthy at some point in time. I don't think it's crazy to believe that this team could be a 90-win team 2 years from now. Again, this is all under the prerequisite of Tucker being here. That's a hard thing to imagine in and of itself, but once you put Tucker into the middle of this lineup, if Weatherholt is as good as expected, if Contreras is still here for another year or two, now you start putting together this lineup, dude, it's pretty good. But it requires a piece like Tucker being inserted into the middle of it. That's what they're lacking. They're lacking one of those. They have supplementary pieces. They do not have a core piece in this lineup right now, not a single one. And I say that as somebody that really likes some of their pieces. They don't have a single piece that you would say is the pivot piece in the lineup, the piece that everybody else fears. Kyle Tucker is that. He's been that all year long this year for the Chicago Cubs, a team that is probably going to make it to the playoffs and potentially do something whenever they get there. By the way, one of the best pitchers on the Chicago Cubs is Matthew Boyd. Don't tell me you can't get good quickly with your rotation when Matthew Boyd was bad.
Yeah, that
hurt.
That requires identifying talent, though.
That's what Chaim Bloom's job is going to be.
Yeah. He's good at it.
We'll find out if he's good at it.
Coming up in 15 minutes, the Cardinals' best teams have always had an identity. What are they hoping to build right now? But next, what are we hoping to learn from Illinois and Mizzou this weekend? We'll talk about their big games coming up next here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here to tell you about my friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, which is coming soon here to the Show Me State, and you can sign up today. New Missouri customers can get $300 in bonus bets when DraftKings Sportsbook launches on December 1st, so download now and place a $5 bet when we go live. DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you'll need to elevate your game day experience, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. phone. And when they go live officially here in Missouri, you'll be betting with a sportsbook app trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and has fast money withdrawals. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use my code Tanner to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. That's code Tanner in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Big weekend in college football, both for Mizzou and for Illinois. Alex, what are you hoping to learn about the Tigers? T-Bone, I want to get your thoughts on Illinois here in just a minute. But Alex, for you, what are you hoping to learn about Mizzou this weekend in their game against Kansas?
Was that offense real in the first game? Like, was Bo Pribula's performance and what the offense did real? Because that's, in my opinion, what's going to determine how successful Mizzou's going to be this year, is if Bo Pribula can continue to be that dominant with the throwing game, that versatile with the ability to escape pressure, which was something that we talked about after that game. Like, in that scenario, he got out of it looking good. But what does it look like when you got a more competitive defensive line coming at you? Can you avoid that setback if your offensive line struggles? So for me, was that offense real with Bo Pribula and what Mizzou put together? That's what I want to learn against a competitive opponent.
Yeah, for Missouri, I would agree with the Pribula thing. What does it look like for them? And what does that O-line look like against Kansas? Because that's my biggest question mark about them coming off of their game against their FCS opponent in Central Arkansas, or whoever it was. Okay, the O-line looked a little shaky at times, especially at that left tackle spot with Green. Who is this O-line going to be able to hold up? Because if it does, Pribula should be able to make some plays, and he should still be able to make some plays with his leg if some pressure gets in the backfield. But if they can't protect him, now you really got to rely on that running game, and I think that is going to be the thing that drives them. But the passing game also has to be a factor for the Tigers.
Yeah, it's the defense for me, the defensive line. I said coming into the season, I thought this defensive line could be one of the best in the country, and they looked fine in the first game. I don't know how much of that really matters because, it's Central Arkansas. You're probably not, A, putting out your best effort, and B, putting out your best scheme, which could help these guys scheme things up front. That being said, I would like to see a better performance this week against Kansas. There are no more excuses in that regard or explanations as to why you would not have production against Kansas. This is the kind of team that you'll see for most of the rest of this season. If Missouri's defensive line goes out there and does not look like it's getting much penetration, they're not disturbing Jalen Daniels, there's one potential explanation for that, and I'll get into that here in just a minute, but it would give me a little bit of concern for the rest of the season as to whether or not they have the ceiling defensively that I thought they could coming into the season. The one caveat there, Jalen Daniels is a better runner than thrower. He is a good thrower, but he's a better runner than thrower. Kind of similar to, remember Castellanos, quarterback for Florida State now, was with Boston College. And a couple of years ago, when Mizzou played Boston College, Missouri's defensive game plan was basically, we're going to keep that guy in the pocket. Because if he runs, he can beat us. But if he throws, we are pretty confident he will not be able to beat us with his arm. And it is possible they have a similar type of game plan this week with Jalen Daniels. So that's my one caveat there, but the defensive line would be the biggest thing that I'm looking for from Mizzou this week, just because I think that it changes the ceiling for them in 2025. On the Illinois side of things, T-Bone, you guys are going up against a really intriguing opponent. The line has moved on this a little bit. It's moving in the direction of Illinois. It's now a 3.5-point line instead of 2.5-point line.
Right.
11 a.m. on ESPN, Illinois versus Duke. What is your biggest thing that you're trying to get answered this weekend?
I think the biggest thing for me is from a team perspective, because I think there's a team perspective thing I'm watching and one player that I've really got my spotlight on. From the team perspective is to the defense for Illinois. The defense is going to have to be the unit I think that carries them this year. It's going to have to be elite. And that front line of theirs, Gabe Akis, who was dominant in that performance against Western Illinois, he looks like the guy that can be a huge closer for them in big-time games, and they're going to have to get pressure on the Duke quarterback if they're going to win. I want to see if the defense holds up and is able to look impressive in this one because it is their first real test. And it's typically about this time on that second game when you get an idea of, okay, does Illinois actually have a pretty high ceiling? And it's typically never from anything their offense does. It's typically from what the defense looks like. So that's the biggest thing I'm looking at from the team perspective. The player that I've got highlighted for this one is the wide receiver, Hank Beatty.
No. You got yours. That's it. You
don't get to highlight.
Yeah, no. Hank Beatty is the guy.
That is mine. That is the one that I would like to give.
All
Do
right,
you
fine.
actually have a legit number one receiver? Because he looked the part in week one.
Mm-hmm.
Can he be that for you? Because that was one of my big questions coming into the season. Do you have somebody that can replace the production of Pat Bryant? Pat Bryant, you get into a big game late in the game. You knew where the ball was going, and there was nothing the other team could do about it most of the time. It would come up with those big catches. Can Hank Beatty be that guy for you? I don't know the answer to that just yet. I want to find that out this week. You get into a big 3rd and 8, game on the line, you're up or down by 3. You need to have this drive. You need to extend it. Can he make that play? That's what I want to see this week, T-Bone. Sorry to take it from you. You already got your big one. It's the defense. That's what you're looking for this week.
You only get one. You don't get two.
He's been rooting for Duke all week. Like, come on.
I don't blame him.
I'm skeptical. I'm still skeptical. And if you have a legit number one receiver. So Hank Beatty would be the number one thing that I want to learn about this week for Illinois.
That was my question before the season even began for Illinois was how are you replacing Pat Bryant? Because the reason Altmaier, I thought, looked so good last year was because Pat Bryant was coming down with some incredible plays that kept the season alive for Illinois. So I'll piggyback that one.
And Beatty's a little different because he's a little bit tinier than Pat Bryant. So that's what makes it interesting to see, okay, how does this offense evolve? To Brett Bielema's credit, he's really evolved the offense to the first couple of years. Excuse me, I was getting emotional.
Yeah, Duke's going to win, I know.
It was Chase Brown was the driving force for that offense. Tommy DeVito would make some big plays, but they really relied on Chase Brown to be the guy that would carry them. And then as they've kind of moved on from that era of football, it became, okay, yeah, we'll run the ball, but really it's Altmaier and Pat Bryant are the driving forces, and Pat Bryant could beat you up over the top. That's not to say Beatty can't, but Beatty's going to have to do it a little bit more different than Pat Bryant because he's not going to win as many 50-50 balls.
Sounds crazy. Those are 2 of the 3 best games in college football this week.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to throw one more in there, you could go Iowa versus Iowa State. That's another one that's...
Iowa still...
I don't think
1940s football.
That one's going to be very boring, so I think I'll opt out of that
Do you
one.
like punting?
Yeah.
And it's also at 11 a.m., so Illinois, Duke on one side,
I'll be waking up still.
Iowa State on the other. That should be a well-played, close game between those two. But that's another one that I'll throw into this category.
6-3 final score.
College game day is going to be at Oklahoma versus Michigan. And this is a game that I do think is going to be important this week for college football. Because last week we saw could be some turmoil in the middle of the Big Ten and in the middle of the SEC. It might not be as clear-cut as some thought it would be coming into the season. Oklahoma played against Illinois State. I don't know how much you can reasonably take from that game. Again, as I said last week, typically in those games you can only learn bad things. But John Mateer threw for 395. That feels noteworthy. He also ran for 25 on the ground. He's a nutcase, and he's fun as hell to watch. On the other side of this game, one of the most exciting young quarterbacks in the game is Bryce Underwood, who threw for 250 against New Mexico. So again, I don't know what to take.
Juggernaut.
both of these teams have an opening this season in their respective conferences. And I want to see who's for real out of these two teams. Can they take that next step? Because if they can, either Oklahoma, who has a quarterback and a really good defensive line, and that's a hell of a starting point for a college football team. Those would be the two things that I would want to start with in modern college football. Can one of those two teams take that step and potentially get to fourth-ish in their conference? Because if they can, they could potentially be a college football playoff team this year. So that would be the big game this week outside of the local schools that I'm going to have the closest eye on to find out. Are either of these teams for real, or was it a charade because they played against, horrible opponents in week 1?
Yeah, Oklahoma's going to be the one that I think it falls in line with what you're saying for me, because I felt after week 1 the SEC was wide open as it's ever been because a lot of these teams underperformed. And look, if Oklahoma's as good as they were in week number 1, then now you got a new team to talk about in the SEC rather than just the same ones that underperformed of Texas and Alabama. And although Georgia didn't play anybody, you didn't get to see kind of what their hopes are.
Oklahoma being good would be great for us as viewers, by the way. They have an awesome schedule this year.
Texas in 4 weeks?
Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Bama, Mizzou, LSU. That's their final 7 weeks of the regular season. The only team that I just mentioned that is not ranked is Mizzou. And I think Mizzou's pretty darn good this year. So, 7 consecutive potential opponents that are ranked, and that's not including what they have this week against Michigan, who's top 15 in the country. Yeah, it's crazy. Their schedule is nuts this year.
And I was going to bring up, man, if Oklahoma ends up being the real deal, I had another one of those legit 50-50 games to Mizzou's schedule because I kind of they were ranked, but they were one of those teams that I looked at and went, okay, this is just more the name brand than anything. And then I watched them in that week 1 against Illinois State, and I was like, okay, this is actually kind of impressive, so maybe they are legit. And for Michigan, the thing that's so interesting with them is there's not many freshman quarterbacks that come in and play well. They typically do what Underwood did last week, which is, do well against the non-Power 4 school in New Mexico. This was the thing with Nico Imaleva last year with Tennessee. Played well before he got to SEC play, and then you get to see the big boys, and that's when things really came off the rails. That's what's going to be interesting to see with Underwood this week.
Alex, it's going to be 75 degrees as the high, low with 55 on Saturday. Are we getting into chilly weather? Or YouTube chat's talking about that right now. Is that a Saturday chilly day? College football, the first real big week
is 75
locally.
degrees chilly?
Oh, but by night?
By nighttime, you got that football feel where you got a long sleeve shirt on. Not a jacket, but a long sleeve shirt.
Today I was like, you know what? It's time to bust out the long sleeve shirts.
It's pullover season, baby.
YouTube
Second best of vest season. I love vest season.
I'm not a vest guy.
Big vest guy.
I love polos.
So you only can pull the vest off for like a month, but I love vest season. October is the only vest.
What's your go-to chili? Are you just a classic?
Yeah, I mean, chili was kind of ruined for me last year. I made brisket chili and puked it all out later that night. So
yikes.
It kind of takes away. But I mean, I
didn't need that.
I don't think I go anything special with a chili. It's just the traditional kidney beans with the ground beef.
You are beans.
Now I do onions and I do green peppers in mine, and I let it all kind of marinate, and then you do beer in it as well.
Sure.
Beer.
Yeah.
I like that.
I've never heard of
What's your
Mick Ultra is what we pour in it. Not the seltzer. Mick Ultra.
Interesting. I've never even heard of
beer. You let it marinate.
Chili.
Like Katie typically makes it and lets it sit for 8 hours on low.
You like it spicy or not? I like my chili spicy with the spicy beans.
I like it spicy, but my family doesn't like it spicy, so I have to put hot sauce in mine after I make it.
We do a couple of different versions of chili. One of them has some adobo peppers that we throw in there. That one's really good.
Dude, I've gotten big into using adobo peppers for taco nights.
Oh, yeah. Adobo peppers are great. Go over to your local Schnucks.
Oh, yeah.
Go to the Mexican area, Mexican cuisine area, and then you get some adobo. Cut those bad boys up. Toss them in there.
Yeah, Halloween's on a Friday night this year when there's no hockey game.
Another good chili night.
So there's going to be a bonfire type of night because the girls get done trick-or-treating by 8, and then it's just television, probably football, maybe some hockey, and then just bonfire with chili.
Would you ever do pumpkin in your chili?
Absolutely not. That's disgusting.
Okay.
Would you ever do pumpkin in your chili?
Oh, I would definitely.
My uncle puts sour cream in it. It makes me want to throw up.
Oh, a lot of people do that with sour cream and Fritos and cheese.
You can do Greek yogurt on the top instead if you prefer.
Chives, put some chives
no
on.
white gelatinous substance for me in my chili.
Greek yogurt's the one that I will do.
Ugh.
I'll do that on the top.
I don't need
I like
spoiled
sour
milk.
cream. I like sour cream. Sour cream's good.
Yeah.
I'll do sour cream's probably one of the go-to condiments that I put on stuff.
And I need just crackers in it. That's it.
Kind of crackers.
What kind of cracker? Are you the oyster crackers?
Those are okay. I like doing Ritz crackers.
That's what I've gotten into now. You crumble up the Ritz.
It's got a little saltiness to it.
A little like sweetness to it, buttery.
Yeah.
You got to crumble them
I'm
up
so
too.
making chili this weekend.
I'm
all in on this
not
YouTube
there
chat.
yet. No, I'm not there
I am.
yet.
I
need
there.
another couple of weeks. It was
mine's
just
coming from a
s'mores.
can, but okay.
It was just s'more season the other
Somebody
day.
said pepper jelly is the secret weapon for chili.
Pepper
I could get
jelly?
behind That for
I don't
sure.
think I'm in
What
on
is
that.
pepper jelly?
It's a jelly made from peppers.
That's disgusting.
I could get with that.
I don't think that would be
Sounds
good.
delightful. Why not?
don't
Dude, all
know.
of it just
The word
it all cooks down.
the
Like, that's
word-
why beer in your chili could
The
could
word
work.
jelly just
Somebody
doesn't-
said butternut squash in your chili is amazing. I've done that with butternut squash. I've done it with sweet potatoes as well in the past. You can.
Yeah, I'm not about that. I'm not about that.
You can do a lot of different stuff, man. Throw it in, see how it comes out. And if it
don't
didn't
do
work,
that.
Yeah,
try
don't
it.
do that. It's like I did chili dogs a few years ago too, and
those are
I
good.
puked those up as well. So
Maybe I
there's
should do
only a couple
chili
of things
dogs
with
this
chili I can
weekend.
eat now,
When
like
was
your
the last time you
palate's.
went to Sonic?
Oh God, it's been a while, but
When I was a kid,
I used to destroy some Sonics in high school.
we had a Sonic right down the street from us growing up. We would go over there. I'd get the ocean water, and then one
Oh
time,
no, cherry limeade is what I used to get the
for
slushy.
sure. Yeah, good one. One time I got that foot-long hot dog, that chili dog from them.
Yeah.
Whew, boy,
We used to have one.
I threw that up right when I got home.
It's something about
when I got home.
it's something
It was
about
game over.
chili dogs. It just never stays in you properly.
All right, coming up in
I'm doing
15
chili
minutes,
dogs
time for the
this
jump
weekend.
short. But next, the Cardinals' best teams have always had some kind of an identity. What are they hoping to build right now? We'll talk about that next year on 101 ESPN. It is back, Alex. Tonight it begins. The NFL season is back, and Underdog is the best place to select entries and win money all season long. And how about this? You can play right now, today, tonight, in the state of Missouri. This is super easy. I've already got mine ready to go. My entry for tonight, Alex: Saquon Barkley rushing touchdown, Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown. I've got some hires on CeeDee Lamb receptions, not yards, receptions, and A.J. Brown receiving yards. Put all that together, it's about 6-1 odds over there on the Underdog app.
Look, it's so easy to use. BK mentioned it. Your favorite players go higher or lower on certain stats. You get your entries right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash and play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code BKO to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code BKO. Millions of fans have already won billions. Making plays on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update drove by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals took down the A's yesterday 5-1 as they take 2 of 3 from Sacramento. They are off today. They'll be back in action tomorrow night when they start a 3-game set with the San Francisco Giants. 7:15 will be first pitch. Michael McGreevy will be on the mound for St. Louis. And tonight here on 101 ESPN, the NFL season kicks off as the Eagles take on the Cowboys. We'll have pregame coverage tonight starting at 6 o'clock. This Sports Center update is drawn by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. CMOLondoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
So what's the identity going to be of the Cardinals whenever they hopefully get good again, if you believe they're going to get good again? Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. T-Bone brought this up earlier today, Alex, and I think it's a fair conversation to have. When you look back at the best Cardinals team, because they're doing, what is it, the 40-year anniversary this weekend?
Yeah, the 85 team.
I remember them fondly.
They're celebrating.
That was -5.
Celebrating the 85 team 40 years later. And, Alex, you look back to that. It's not hard to see what the identity was of White Eat Ball, right? Everybody, I say that, and immediately every person in our audience that was old enough to have watched that team, they know exactly what came to mind, right? They had a clear identity. You look back to the late 90s. Well, the identity of the Cardinals was Mark McGwire and the home run chase, right? Teams weren't great, but he was great. And he was so otherworldly that everybody came back to the ballpark to watch Big Mac and to see what he was doing. And then you get into the 2000s. The identity was, man, look at these stars that we have. And Albert Pujols most prominently featured. That really became their identity through the late 2000s into the early 2010s. And then eventually it became pitching and defense was kind of their identity for the early 2010s. And then they've lost it ever since. But, you know, they tried to kind of regain that. We've got stars, Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt. We've got these guys that you can come watch. Alex, but really what their identity, the through line for Cardinals baseball, and this is going all the way back throughout their history. We win. That's their identity. The identity is tied to winning. And so for as much as we talk about, like, hey, what do they need to do to get Cardinals fans back into the stadium? And they'll talk about all of the things that they could bring in, right? They've got this Friday Night Live thing, which is fun. I love it. I go out to the ballpark on Friday. You can have a good time up there at Budweiser Terrace, right? You've got the DJ up there. It's a good environment. But like, really, ultimately, the way that you bring people back to the stadium is to go to watch a winning product. And that requires stars. That requires all of these other things that we include. It requires good pitching. It requires star-level position players. It requires homegrown talent living up to expectations. So those are all a byproduct of the primary goal of getting back to the winning. But when you think about what their identity should be whenever they get good again, do you think there should be any one thing that they should be trying to build around?
No, I don't. I think the identity should be find great players. You asked the question in the office when T-Bone brought this up that I was thinking. What are teams' identities around Major League Baseball? Because I think for a majority of them, it's just power. It's just superstars. Like you have Milwaukee who goes defense and speed on the base paths. But other than that, I feel like everybody, it's just kind of a cookie cutter identity of, hey, we hit the ball really hard. We've got stars on our team, and this is how we win. That's how the teams continue to win. Boston is kind of the youth movement thing, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't know that that's necessarily an identity that can stand the test of time, and because of time. Like eventually, you're no longer young. Well, and there's no consistency with it yet. Like, we're seeing it now with them, but what does it look like 2 years from now? Like, the winning teams that have identities are just, well, they just accumulate great talent. So the identity that I am familiar with the Cardinals has always been they go out there and they find guys and they turn them into stars. And well, they find stars that continue to perform like stars, and they keep them, or they make them bigger stars here. But a lot of that was centered around, well, they have the best player in the game that was with them, sure. So it's hard to go out there and find that. But I mean, the identity that they should go off of is what Ollie had talked about earlier this season of like, look, I want a roster that every single game they go into knowing that they're going to win with the occasional losses that pop up. That's what the Cardinals used to be. You'd see Cardinals versus who, and you'd be like, cool, they're going to win that game, win that series. And a lot of it was because they just kept finding incredible players.
Yeah, I think if I were to identify one spot, and I would say this is probably what you should make as your identity, I would circle pitching as the thing that they should go for. And the reason I say that is because of the landscape of baseball. I think it's going to be very hard for them to be acquiring stars, and it's so hard to develop stars, but it's a lot easier to develop guys with swing and miss stuff. Like, look at what Milwaukee's doing. And I'm not trying to say, like, well, if Milwaukee's doing it, anybody can do it. It is super easy to create a pipeline. But when you have a pipeline and you create the dynamic pitching that they have, it makes up for the fact that they lack a star outside of Christian Yelich, of course. But the fact that they don't have an offense that hit for the first couple months of the season, they never fell off of a cliff because they had pitching. And that's kind of a chalk answer because, like, yes, I think the two things you have to have is you have to slug and you have to miss bat from a pitching staff. But I would circle pitching specifically and say, man, if you can find a way to build this pipeline that just continues to churn out, not even aces, but continues to churn out really good arms that got really good swing misses like 2 or 3s, you'll be able to build back up winning while you continue to wait around for offense. Because, like, you think of their most recent stars, to Alex's point of, hey, they went out and they acquired the stars, and I think that's how they should try to operate. They kind of fell into those two of Goldie and Arenado. And I don't think you can just count on that occurring again of, oh, Goldie's not going to get re-signed. Someone's going to take Carson Kelly and Luke Weaver, who were decent prospects, but nothing significant that you gave up. Nolan Arenado is not happy in Colorado and is willing to go to just 2 teams. That's not going to happen very often for you to acquire your stars.
So I agree with you, T-Bone. To put my spin on it, I would say it's finding your edge, whatever that is. And that can mean different things for different teams. Like Houston uses their edge in international scouting. They're very good at identifying talent in like the Caribbean area. Like they go into the Dominican, they go into Puerto, like they find kids that are 16 years old and they say, this guy's going to be a good player. I might not see it right now, but he's going to be good. And they're right a lot. They figure it out. They have found a way to use that marketplace to continue to supplement their talent at the major league level. So that would be one from Houston as an example. Milwaukee is an example of a pitching pipeline. Tampa Bay was that for a very long time. I mean, you've seen other teams that are like, our edge was that we tank, right? Houston did that. They tanked for a while, and they used it and exploited the loophole that existed there. We saw Chicago do that with the Cubs. They tanked, and then they got the talent, and they exploited the loophole that existed there. The Dodgers have this financial might that they can use. That's their edge, right? They have a lot of money. The Mets, same thing. The Phillies have a president of baseball operations that is completely unafraid to make big seismic moves. So he goes and signs Bryce Harper and Trey Turner and all of these dudes that come in for him. What is the Cardinals' edge? Where will that be for them? Could be pitching, maybe. They've brought people in that certainly have that history, but maybe it's something else that we're not thinking of right now. Maybe it is the international market. Maybe it's going over to Korea and Japan and finding really good players there. I saw in Jeff Passan's piece earlier today, he mentioned there's 2 or 3 players that are coming over that could be very good coming from Japan. I don't care what it is, but you've got to find something that is your edge. It used to be that you would trade for guys that would then re-sign here. That was the Cardinals' edge. They would sell them on playing here, the history of it, getting into contention every year. They'd have a taste of it, and they would want more. I don't know if that exists now. I don't know if that can be your edge right now. But whatever it is, you got to find it. And until they do, they're going to be continued to stuck in mediocrity. So that's got to be the thing that they do, is find that edge for them, and I don't know exactly what that's going to be.
All of it centered around winning, though. How are they able to get guys here and want them to stay here? Because they knew that every single year they had a shot at winning a World Series. And you don't have that right now. Like what the Cardinals used to do is what the Cubs did this past offseason in acquiring Kyle Tucker. They went out there and they got a guy who was close to free agency, and they were like, hey, we'll get him here and we'll try and win. Now, do they re-sign him? I don't know. Probably not. The Cardinals would still re-sign that guy.
Somebody on the text line brings up a fair point. Their edge has always been about finding diamonds in the rough. Now they need to develop and pay for some superstar talent to go around those diamonds in the rough. There's some truth to that.
Yeah,
I do believe
X-factor.
that. I think they're really good, really good. I will give them their credit where they deserve it, and I think they deserve it here. They've been excellent at developing, and this is not to diminish it, major league average players. They're really good at it. Solid defenders, decent athleticism, solid at hitting. Like 700 OPS guys, they're great at it. Yeah. They find a way to develop those every single season. The problem is the superstar talent that you have to supplement that with. Previously, developing those guys was really important because you could supplement the Alberts and Scott Rowland and Larry Walker and Jim Edmonds. You could put all of these league average hitters, league average defenders. You're like, we got a superstar studded team here. Now you look at it, you're like, oh, wait, our team is just those guys. When you don't have Albert and Yachty and Waino.
Just
and
chock full of these guys.
It becomes a little bit more difficult. The Junk Drawer is coming up next year on 101 ESPN. I've got two stories for you, Alex. I'm going to read the headlines. You guys tell me which one you would prefer to explore today in the junk drawer. You ready?
Dangerous.
Oh, boy.
Option number one. I can't do it. Option number one. I wasn't even going to mention any of the stories that you guys could have potentially seen me going down. We don't have to talk about Florida today. Woman duped by romance scammer posing as an astronaut in distress. Woman duped by romance scammer.
I hate these stories.
Posing as an astronaut in distress. That's option one. Option two. Senator John Kennedy.
Option one.
No. It's not political, I promise. Says that radioactive shrimp will turn you into an alien.
No, I still say option one.
Anytime you bring up the word senator, I say option one.
When he says senator right off the bat.
Although I do like the idea of outer
Senator
space
Kennedy
aliens.
made a spectacle on the Senate floor on Wednesday, suggesting that consuming the shrimp could cause a person to turn into an alien from the 1970 horror film Alien.
I kind of want to this is like choose your own adventure. I want to open the story. What is your question with that story?
What do you think of when you think of turning into an alien? Like, what does that look like to you? Because I think everybody has a different idea of what aliens look like, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen, God, what is the movie? It's the movie where...
Signs?
No.
Are you thinking of Mel Gibson? Because that one used
Arrive?
Yeah, with Jeremy
Arrival.
Renner.
Oh.
Is that with Jeremy Renner?
Yeah. It's very good.
I've never seen it. I heard it's great.
It's one of the movies that first portrayed aliens in a different way. Where like they look different than what you see with the green monster style from most portrayals.
I never saw this movie, so I have
Arrival's
to
very good.
I have to see what they portray it as.
It's the same director as Dune.
Oh, okay. Okay. I've seen pictures. They portray him kind of like octopus.
Ish, yeah. They're just weird, like floating figures.
Yeah, because what was the
Pac-Man?
What was the other movie where
kind of it's closer than
what was the other movie where the aliens were like robots essentially? Why am I blanking on the name of the movie?
Robots. Think about iRobot?
No
idea what you're.
I'm gonna have to figure out what it is. Somebody might be able to, because they parodied it on Scary Movie 4 of the movie. But to answer that question, I always think of, no matter what, when somebody brings up the word alien, I think of South Park. I think of the little gray oval shaped head with black eyes. That's always what I have thought of.
I don't know why I didn't think like the Alien franchise, because the first one when BK says it, I went E.T. He phones home, and I've never even seen the movie, so I don't even know why that was an answer
do you guys
for
believe
me.
in aliens?
Oh yeah,
No.
You do?
yeah.
Oh, you don't?
War of the Worlds. That's what it's
I'm
called.
surprised. Oh yeah, that was okay.
Yeah,
That was an okay movie.
Wasn't that with Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But
I've seen
they
that
were
one.
like the aliens were robots essentially.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's solid.
what did you just ask him before I interrupted? I'm sorry.
Oh, you really don't believe in aliens?
No.
How do you not believe in aliens,
I mean,
man?
Think about
already.
how big this galaxy is.
Yeah.
And then think about the universe.
I know, man.
And you think we're the only ones out there. The only ones.
Yeah.
Man.
What do you think Area 51 is then?
Don't get me started.
Oh God.
Oh boy, I didn't know you had big thoughts on that.
No. Like, I think it's literally nothing. That's what I think Area 51 is.
Did you see a documentary recently?
What?
On
No.
Netflix? There's a new relatively speaking, new Area 51 documentary.
No, I did not see that. And I love good documentary.
I have not seen it either. It's on our...
I've actually been the one, though, that's believed the aliens are actually in the ocean, not in the space.
Oh, really?
My dad and I have always had that thought to where it's like there's places in the ocean that are unexplored.
There's a lot that we don't know about in the ocean.
Yep, just like space, but I've always thought it's kind of like the look over here, and then it's like, oh, hey, the aliens invade, but they're coming up out of the water. Yeah, I'm a weirdo.
I think they're out there.
Oh,
I think there's
agree.
a lot of them. I don't think it's just any one like alien. I think there are many of them out there. And we don't know yet where they are or how they communicate or how they could potentially get here. And I don't know if they ever will.
Maybe they're already here and they're like scrolls from Marvel.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Where they can become like
Oh, yeah,
shapeshift.
I definitely... I do
Shapeshift?
not believe that this is all that is out there.
I've never
I don't-
believed that.
I can't possibly believe that. The world is too vast.
There can't be this big a nerd. He might be a scroll.
Oh, His face kind of looks
Didn't
like
need
one, right?
that. Didn't
Couldn't cover it up.
appreciate that.
Like the
Coming up in
shapeshifter didn't work
15 minutes,
fully.
We'll play a game.
I'm glad I opened the store.
Believe it or not, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for Believe It or Not. You give us a scenario, we will tell you if we believe it here on BK and Ferrario. But next, has college football entered a new era in which it is impossible to have some kind of a run the way that Saban had? We'll talk about that next year on 101 ESPN. The biggest story in college football this week was probably Arch Manning, but number two is definitely Alabama. And whether or not their head coach is going to make it, I don't know, to year 3 as the head coach at the University of Alabama, Alex Kalen DeBoer, I think, is a good football coach. I'm not sure he's the best one of his era, and that is what they're trying to replace in Nick Saban. I also wonder if it's just not possible to have the same amount of sustained success that we saw from Nick Saban at Alabama in today's day and age. With Alex and T-Bone on BK, it's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. So Alex, as you think about NIL, the transfer portal, how much that impacts the depth that these teams like Alabama, Georgia, et cetera, are able to maintain year over year, do you think we'll see another sustained run the way that Nick Saban had at Alabama? Or is that a way of the past?
I don't think we'll see that again. I think between NIL transfer, but also kids that have success going into the draft, I just don't think you can see teams just continue to turn over the amount of talent that Nick Saban and Alabama did. But on top of it, Nick Saban had a presence to himself to where if you failed, you felt like you were letting them down. And I don't know if anybody in college football has that same presence that Nick Saban had. I think the closest comp we had to it was Kirby Smart with Georgia. And, I mean, look, you had the transfer portal affect that in terms of them losing the quarterback that they thought was going to keep them competitive. Now, maybe they find another one. I just don't think you're going to see a run the way that Nick Saban did to where he dominated college football every single year and everyone else was looking up to Big Brother. I don't know if you'll have that same length of run that Saban had.
Yeah, I still think we're going to see somebody figure it out. I think the thing that has happened that has kind of caught everybody off guard is how quickly and how rapid all of this change came. And I think it was everybody kind of could see it coming, but the way that it's occurred, I don't think anybody could have expected what occurred to college football and prepare for it properly. And I think that's what these first couple of years has been for the sport. I think you're seeing coaches trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to do to be able to get to the program where I want to be? I think there's a couple guys that I think could end up doing this. Like, I think Ryan Day could do this at Ohio State. He looks like he's going to be able to replace some of the production that he's lost.
Trust him?
I think he can. I really do.
He was ready to be fired a couple years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like a different kind of fire when you're 11-2.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, it's a different kind of fire when the guy's 11-2 and we're talking about firing the guy. It's not like we're talking about, Lovie Smith 2-10 at Illinois.
Bar. I mean, and Nick Saban didn't have those years, man. His seasons at Alabama, losses by year: 1-1, 2-2, 1-1, 1-1, 2-0.
Yeah, and those
era.
two, you would have thought that the team lost 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, and in those 2 seasons, let's see here, Sugar Bowl loss was included in 2 of those, so that was an 11-1 regular season each of those 2 seasons. Another one, 2-loss season, lost in the national championship.
Alabama's runs were, the loss they had was just national headline. Like, they lost a game. You would just assumed every year they were going undefeated for how good they were. And I don't see another team having that same view.
For Ryan Day, though, and like you mentioned that, like if you take out his Peach Bowl loss, 11-1 3 years ago, Cotton Bowl loss, take that out, 11-1 last year, goes 14-2. Did have 2 losses, but won the national championship. Like I think he is a guy that can do this.
2011 and 2023 had 1 season in which he lost more than 1 regular season game.
It was 12 years.
Yeah, I
don't think it's happening. I don't think you can do that in today's game.
See, I think you still can. I think there's going to be coaches figure out whether you believe in Ryan Day or not. I would throw Ryan Day as a name into this. I think Kirby Smart's going to figure out the whole transfer portal NIL stuff and get Georgia back to being a bulldozer. I think the other thing too is, like, now, even if you have 2 losses, like we're ripping on Ryan Day here for, Ryan Day won the freaking national championship because there's more opportunities to go out there and go to the college football playoff.
As well, though, is when you have more opportunities, there are more opportunities for those teams to lose. When you play those games, man, they're pretty close to 50-50 propositions. Maybe you think that Ohio State's just flat out better than everybody else, right? And I'm just using them because they were the team that you mentioned as a placeholder. Georgia could be here, whoever. Sure, go with Georgia. We'll use them as the placeholder here. When they play these games in January, even if you think they're great, it's like a 60% chance to win those games. To win 3 of them in a row, man, it's hard to do that. And so it's the era where you've got NIL/transfer portal. I think the biggest thing for these massive programs that does, guys don't like waiting their turns anymore. So some of these kids, they take the biggest dollar figure or they take the biggest program's opportunity and they assume I'm going to get there and I will win the job, right? Because that's your thought is, I'm 18 years old, I'm amazing, I've always been the best at everything I've ever done. And then you get on campus, you don't play as a freshman, you don't even see the field as a freshman, and you transfer and you're immediately out. So you're a 5-star kid that's now back into the transfer portal. Those kids used to just stay. Because what's the alternative? All right, so I'm going to go sit behind somebody else at, Arkansas instead of being at Alabama? No, I'll wait my turn. I'll win a national title here, and I'll start in year 3. instead of having those kids waiting in the wings year after year and having a 5-star after a 5-star after a 5-star, now the depth is tested. So if you get a couple of injuries, suddenly you look pretty mortal. And so the depth is something that has changed at places like Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, etc. And that's only a piece of it. The other thing is the way that the season is structured. SEC is now going to play 9 conference games starting soon. That's going to be tougher to be able to maintain the same level of winning pedigree as they had at Alabama in all those seasons. The playoff has changed in a huge way. It went from 2 teams meeting for the championship game to 4 teams to now we're expanding and probably going to expand again, which is something that Nick Saban never really had to deal with to this degree. So I think just the structure of the sport in every possible way makes it more difficult to maintain this level of dominance over the sport. The one thing that I would say as the retort to what I just said, if they go to a true revenue share where every school gets the same cap to be able to spend, that's when you could see it go back.
For sure.
Because then there will be still an incentive to go to a place like Ohio State. Because if every place has the same allotment of money, then it becomes like, all right, well, I'll just go to the bigger program instead of taking this big paycheck from Arkansas. Or
you put everybody on the same playing field, and then now you're talking about the highly esteemed universities where players want to go that have your best shot at the NFL. Now your best shot
at a place like Texas Tech can spend all of the money that they want to.
Your best shot at the NFL now as an athlete is to go where I can start immediately rather than wait in the wings to be playing on Alabama 2 years from now.
Exactly.
And I think one spot here where maybe I am seeing this a little differently is like I'm looking more at like what you do when you get to the playoff, not so much like what your overall record ends up being. Like we keep referencing Alabama. We keep mentioning only one loss, only one loss, only one loss. But if Ryan Day, let's say, like wins another college football championship this year, but let's say he loses to, I don't know, Penn State, Michigan, gets in and then wins the national championship. Like, dude, I still think like it just has to be viewed differently because it is harder to win the college football playoff. It's easier to get in, but it's harder to win it because there are more rounds. That's the way that I kind of look at it. I'm not so much looking for, hey, I want to see a team that goes out there and goes like 15-0, has the 12-0 regular season, blows through their 3 opponents, and wins a national championship on a consistent basis. I'm talking about, are you a contender year in and year out, and when you get to the playoff, are you a team that's going to take care of business? That's the way that I'm kind of judging it now in this new playoff format.
Alex, I just got a text from my wife.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to show you something.
Uh-oh.
So I'll go ahead and put this on the YouTube stream, all right? So this is what our dog normally looks like when she gets
the jacked up haircut.
You ready? This is like, you've seen our dog before.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little Maltese Shih Tzu mix, okay? I'm now going to show you a picture.
I just saw he held it up.
What she looks like today.
Did the groomer just forget what they were supposed to? That looks like the Taco Bell Chihuahua.
What happened?
they left the dog's ears long, and it looks like the Taco Bell Chihuahua. Yo quiero Taco Bell.
I don't know what happened. It looks like they like randomly just clipped in certain.
What happened is they forgot that the blade was too low when they did the first cut on her, and it was like, oh shoot. All right, I guess we're having to go down this path. Now, maybe they won't notice. Anytime we started, my wife just sent me a picture, I automatically go to, some kid put poop on the wall.
Oh, my God.
That's my go-to.
So we're going out of town next week, and Bella's going to be staying with Kara's parents. So we wanted to get her groomed so she at least like looks presentable. She was in a bad spot, man. It was time. And this is why she's going to go over to their place next week.
I don't know if dogs feel embarrassment, but Belle might be.
She should feel shame.
Belle should tuck her head and never go towards people moving forward.
All right. So that's what I get to do.
Literally woof, T-Bone.
Yeah. If you want to see it, you can go check out the YouTube page, youtube.com/101ESPN.
They gave you the wrong dog. Bachog said
is where you can go to check those pictures out. All right, coming up next, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service X line for Believe It or Not here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here to tell you about DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, which is coming soon here to the Show Me State, and you can sign up today. New Missouri customers can get $300 in bonus bets when we launch on December 1st, so download now and place a $5 bet when DraftKings Sportsbook goes live. And it brings everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when DraftKings Sportsbook goes live in Missouri, you'll be betting with a sportsbook app trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and has fast money withdrawals. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use my code TANNER to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. That's code TANNER in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so
Free,
Flying away on a wing and a prayer.
who could it be?
Believe it or not, it's just me.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for Believe It or Not.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. Not our sports
It's
takes. We're idiots.
it's football season.
I come here for T-Bone's live reads.
Do you? Because he's got like 17 of them.
Yep.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
I hate both.
And download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use my code TANNER.
Use
Get
underdog
$300.
code
Promo code.
BKO as football is back tonight.
The official sponsor of BK and
Get
Ferrario.
that first entry going
that's not
over
true.
on the Underdog app.
Oh, they are.
I really genuinely love Underdog.
Oh, yeah,
I've
use
been
it all the
telling T-Bone, you can vouch on this. I've been telling Alex and T-Bone for 4 years that if I could have one opportunity with one of the sports books, fantasy, whatever, Underdog would be the one that I would want to do.
I started it 3 years ago, but when you got me into best ball, and then from there it just took off.
Yep. I did the playoff fantasy stuff. That's where I first got into Underdog. I do their best ball over the summer. I like doing their picks during the season. And then soon, starting in December, maybe we have some other opportunities for you. So Underdog is fantastic. We love everything that they do. Use promo code BKO. That's promo code BKO when you sign up. First $5.
It doesn't affect you the same
$50 in
way
bonus funds.
the BKO
Fantastic.
actually affects you.
All right, let's get into Believe It or Not. 314-399-9646. That is the Air Comfort Service text line for Believe It or Not. Alex, let's start out with this one. Believe it or not, somebody other than Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry will lead the NFL in rushing yards this year.
I'm going to say not believe it. I think between those two, one of them, especially in both of those offenses that just love to run the ish out of the football, I'm going to say not believe it. One of those two are going to be leading the way.
Oh, man, I'm trying to see who was close to them last year.
Bijan.
Who? Oh,
Bijan
Bijan.
Robinson.
Yeah, I could see Bijan being up there. Gibbs could be up there again, but I don't. With Montgomery back, it might limit a little bit of his carries.
Plus, those guys, they love to get involved in the pass more than the run.
Kyron Williams was good again, but I don't know if he could get up to 2,000.
They have to run the ball. Their quarterback doesn't have a back.
My answer.
No, we're not listening
Kyron
to you.
Williams?
Nope.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't think you've mentioned him.
McCaffrey?
He was 6th last year in rushing. I think he will be 1st this year in rushing. Believe it, Josh Jacobs will lead the NFL in rushing this year.
I'm so done with this
When I looked and
Packers
saw
hype.
who the team was on, I knew.
I'm so done with this Packers hype.
I'm telling you, man, I think Josh Jacobs is going to have a monster
I have him
season
in
this
both
year.
my fantasy leagues, so I hope you're right.
Alex?
Believe it or not, guys, the Dallas Cowboys, who are in action this evening, wins less than 7 games. Doesn't win more than 7 games. I phrased that.
The Dallas Cowboys will win fewer than 7 games?
Yes, thank you. I phrased that improperly.
I still think they have a pretty darn good offense. I think people are sleeping on that offense a little bit. The running game, whatever, it's not going to be very good, but the offensive line should be solid, and their weapons are really good this year, man. CeeDee Lamb plus George Pickens, for all of his headaches off of the fields, is a very good football player on the field and a hell of a lot better than Jalen Tolbert, who was their number 2 receiver a year ago. I think Dak's going to have a pretty big season, so I'll say not believe it. I think they win 8 games this year. I think they'll be slightly below average.
Oh, man. I will say not believe it as well. I think they'll be about 8 wins. It's so tough because, they scream what Cincinnati was last year, where they're going to be really good offensively, or I think they'll be really good offensively, and the defense is going to be just such a huge question mark. That's why, Cincinnati was able to finish above 500. So, yeah, I would say not believe it. I think they will be around, 8.
I believe in this. I think they're going to be fewer than I don't trust their defense, although I do agree their offense is going to be great. I don't trust their defense, and I don't trust their coach.
Guys, believe it or not, both Illinois and Missouri will win this weekend in their prove-it games.
Not. Illinois is losing.
Oh, unbelievable.
Illinois can't beat Duke.
I would have been nice enough to say believe it, but now I'm going to say not, so the Kansas Jayhawks can kick the living crap out of the Missouri Tigers.
I genuinely believe Illinois is going to lose this week.
Now I've never felt better about a win.
Promo code BKO.
No, it doesn't affect you the same way. You actually get money with the BKO promo code. You get $50 with the promo code BKO.
I don't know what's going to happen in the Mizzou game. I've told you guys that all week. I don't know. I think it's going to be a really close game one way or the other, and the lack of their starting kicker does make me a little nervous. But
lack of meaning they don't have them.
He's out
from
for the year.
JUCO.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's going to do kickoffs now. It's the freshman that's going to be doing the kicks.
Just don't try and tackle the guy in case they get past that front line of it. Yeah.
I think that might be why they're doing it this way, because they don't want to lose their freshman kicker, so they said, we got to find somebody that can kick the ball off for us. So, Duke, I believe, will beat Illinois. That is my upset special.
I think they win by a touchdown.
Oh, Illinois? Yeah.
No, Duke.
24-16.
Oh, my God. Wow.
I think Duke will come out with the victory. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line from Merp the Barbarian. Believe it or not, the Blues will finish with a better record this year than the Colorado Avalanche.
I'm not going to believe this. I think they're going to be pretty close, though. I think they're going to be 2-4 points separated. I'm very skeptical of Colorado because their goaltending wasn't great towards the end of the year last year, and they don't have depth. They lose one guy on that roster, which good luck trying to stay healthy all year. Their bottom 6 is awful. I think they're going to be 2 or 4 points separated from that second and third place in the Central.
Yeah, I'm not going to believe it. I think Colorado will be better than the Blues. I think the team that the Blues might be able to catch would be potentially the Winnipeg Jets, because I don't believe in them. I think they will fall back down to earth this year.
I want to believe that so much, but Hellebuck's just always good in the regular season.
Yeah, and that's what makes it tough. But with the Avalanche, like you mentioned, hey, I don't know about their bottom 6. Mm-hmm. It's a typical Avalanche year. McKinnon, McCarr, going to carry them to the deadline, and then they'll go out and kind of redo their whole bottom 6 at the trade deadline and be fine by the time the playoffs
I think
roll
you're
around.
Talking Winnipeg, Dallas is 1-2, and I think Colorado and St. Louis will be fighting for that third place spot.
Yeah, I'm not believing this. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for Believe It or Not. From the 314, believe it or not, if Mizzou wins and Illinois loses Saturday, T-Bone will call in on Monday.
No. T-Bone's not a sulking
I post every day,
embarrassment.
baby. Yeah.
T-Bone's more of he'll just pretend that it didn't happen or that it was a fluke.
Yeah, I won't deal with BK's crap, but
if Mizzou loses, BK's not coming in on Monday.
Oh yeah, I will let BK have it on Monday. But
I haven't been talking trash this week. That's the difference between the two of us. I have acknowledged that Missouri can absolutely lose this game. You have not done that
Illinois.
same acknowledgement. You have said all year 10-2 would be like anything less is a disaster for the Illini. And if you lose this game, you're not going better than 10-2.
That's true.
Like you're not going back. You will win at most 8 games if you lose this game.
Oh, relax.
So yeah, I will be bringing it on thick if they lose this game on Saturday.
Hey-o.
And I'll be here on Monday. I post every day.
Keyword thick.
He'll be here and he will be
a little.
Getting it from all directions. 314-399-9646.
He'll ghost us over the weekend when Illinois loses.
100%. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service. Oh, I'm spoiling.
Hey, I'm leaving the chat. I'm leaving the chat then.
No, you cannot. You're not even watching the game live.
No, because I got to do
so
something.
much less enjoyable for me.
Yeah, well,
Oh, that's
I'm going to
a bummer.
spoil it. I'm just going to send texts.
I'm not going to look at my phone. You'll only get a text from me at 6 crying if they lose.
From the 618. Guys, believe it or not, when the season starts next year, Church, not Walker, will be on the opening day roster. Nathan Church will be on the roster. Jordan Walker will not.
I'm going to say not believe it.
not
Walker's
believe
going to be here. He'll just be a bench bat probably.
Yeah, I would say not believe it. I think Walker will be in the Gorman Burleson role where he's got to earn those opportunities again. I don't know that there's a role on Church for the opening day roster.
The only spot would be Victor Scott's, and Victor Scott's going to be starting in center field.
Man, we got somebody that was very upset on the radio on the
What'd you
text
do?
line. Bleeping radio, bleep hole. Look at BK's phone off of on the air. Get back to talking about sports, you bleep wad. Dang, very upset.
What did he use as the word in front of wad?
I can't say it
Did
on
it
the
start
air,
with an
man.
F or did it start with a D?
From the 314. Even if BK talks smack on the air, he still has a bit of a tone issue.
Yeah. It's ingrained in his
Smack
voice.
include a tone issue?
I would think so. Maybe not. I don't know.
No, you can talk smack without tone.
Can
From the 573. T-Bone's a spiteful little yard gnome, isn't he?
Yeah, but what you do with it is you just kick it over.
He got the thumbnail today for the Redbird report.
It's because he uses better hand motions than you.
Let's see how it goes. How does it look this week? Oh, we haven't posted it yet. Redbird report will be posted
Tone
soon.
was right
no,
there.
that was genuinely. I assumed it had
Sorry,
been posted.
Grant.
I do apologize.
Not like you're doing 17 other things. The Redbird report of the Cardinals that can't even make the playoffs isn't posted yet because so many people are desperate to find out about the Cardinals. It hasn't been posted on YouTube. We recorded it at 9 a.m., Grant.
I didn't mean to. I swear. I didn't mean to.
Not even
do
in
that.
there. Grant's listening in the other studio. He's probably recording Talk
He
of the
probably
Town.
deleted it now.
From the 314, T-Bone would go full rhino mode if Illinois loses. That is a long-time listener.
Tucked his
That
head
is
down.
a long-time listener.
And whenever I need a good laugh, I think of a 5-year-old T-Bone that's just going full rhino mode. Just into a wall somewhere in his pull-up diapers.
Yeah, yeah.
They say to T-Bone, you can't have a cookie after dinner, and he just...
From Big Steve, I put on the YouTube feed and immediately regret it. I did not need to know what you guys look like. Hey, man, that's fair.
Whoa.
A lot of people in my life have had instant regret for bringing me into their lives.
I think we're scrapping-looking dudes.
Yeah, we're fine.
I think all of us are...
I'd say we're St. Louis Sixes.
Oh, no. St. Louis 7s, elsewhere 6s.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd agree with
I think we're good-looking fellas.
Yeah.
From your mom's lover, I suspected BK was a little odd, but after the alien comment, I think he's a complete wackadoodle. That's fair.
Look, man, if you don't believe in aliens, you are the wackadoodle.
Old T-Bone.
And you also just used the word wackadoodle, which haven't heard that one ever.
He's Alex. That's T-Bone. I'm BK.
Dork is the one I go for.
As punishment for Alex, for everything you just did about the Redbird report, coming up next.
Punishment for me? You're the one calling out because nobody's watching your video.
Which Cardinals player not named Jordan Walker has the most to prove over the next 3 weeks? We
goody.
didn't have to talk Cardinals next, but we're going to because Alex
But
did
you
what
talked
he
about
did.
this on the podcast.
We'll do that next here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here. The Sports Center update brought to you by Soliga Heating and Cooling. Cardinals took down the A's last night, taking 2 of 3 from Sacramento. They are off today, back in action tomorrow night when they will start a 3-game set with the San Francisco Giants. And tonight here on 101 ESPN, the NFL season kicks off, as well as pregame coverage starting at 6 o'clock for Cowboys at Eagles with kickoff at 7:20. The Sports Center update is brought to you by Soliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
Alex, as you watch the Cardinals over the next 3 weeks or so, which player, hey, you're going to watch him. It's your job.
Sure.
Tone? Is that Tone?
Yep.
Which Cardinals player not named Jordan Walker has the most to prove over the next 3 weeks?
Let me know how much Cardinals you're watching on Saturday and Sunday.
Not much.
Brandon.
Not much, to be
It's
totally
your job,
honest.
damn it.
Hey, but Yachty or Molina's going to be in the dugout.
Ooh, okay, cool. I'll see the video on Twitter, and that'll be it. All right, that one was Tone on that one. Oh, gosh.
You'll be watching on Sunday at 1:15?
Yeah, I'm going to be
Sonny Gray on the mound?
Glued to my television to see that dueling battle between the Cardinals and the Giants.
Justin Verlander in town on Saturday.
Is Kate Upton coming?
I'm not sure.
Well,
I would assume no.
Once again, I'll see
It's been a rough year for our guy Justin Verlander.
I'll see the GIF on. I'll see the GIF on social media.
He is 3-10 on the season.
That's okay. He's like what, 50?
42.
Close enough.
Yeah.
That's 50 in baseball years. What was the question again? You used Tone, so I wasn't listening.
Cardinals player not named Jordan Walker, because I think he's the answer we would all give, is under the most pressure, or under the most scrutiny the rest of the way. Most to prove.
Probably Lars Nootbaar. But
interesting. Good one.
I feel that the Cardinals have already made their decision on him, that I don't know if he can shift their decision. But if you're talking pressure, if I'm Lars Nootbaar, like, it's been another underwhelming season for me. I was injured for a little bit of time. I started off hot. I fell silent towards the end. And if I get moved from the Cardinals, what does my career still look like? So I think he would be my answer, just in terms of the pressure he's feeling versus the pressure fans are putting on.
Can I go next, Simone?
Sure.
Because I don't want you to say mine. I don't think you will, but I don't want you to say it because you stole mine earlier, and I don't want you to do it again. Ivan Herrera would be my answer. Not necessarily, pressure might not be the right word, but definitely a guy that I want to see something from, because I can understand if you're somebody who would make the case, hey, Ivan Herrera was hurt, and that's why you didn't see the power numbers for a couple of months. Recently, we've seen that improve again. In his last 7 games, he has a double, 3 home runs. He's starting to hit for more power again. He's hitting the ball hard. He's doing damage. In that stretch of time, he has an OPS over 1,200. It's a very small sample size. It's only 22 at-bats. I want to see more of that the rest of the way, because that went away for a while. Ivan Herrera now on the season is slugging .445, but most of that came very early on. And if you look at it last year, he was a good hitter, a really good hitter, hit for a high average, hit 300 for the season, got on base at a good clip, but didn't hit for a lot of power. 2 years ago, in very limited opportunities, did not really hit for power. So is Ivan Herrera a high average, high on base, low slug guy, or could he be something more? In other words, is he Brendan Donovan? Is that what we're watching? Because this is what Brendan Donovan has been for most of his career. Good average, really good on base, elite on base for most of his career, and just okay slugging percentage. That's a good player. I would love to have Ivan Herrera become that. That's a nice supplementary piece. If that's all he is, then he's not one of the, like, build your franchise around this guy type of a player. He's going to have to be a lot more than that offensively to carry what is, a below average defensive pedigree at best.
Yeah, if you said a player you're watching, like, just in the final month that you're curious on something, Herrera was the guy that would fall into that for me for slugging. Does he have more pop to his bat, and can he right the ship, which he looks like he has since his struggles recently? The guy that I think is under the most pressure is Andre Palante. I think Palante's pitching for his job for 2026. I thought up until about the All-Star break, hey, yeah, you come into 2026, Palante's definitely right him in pan, mostly because he's going to be cheap. He's a guy that you bring back. He's not even going to be worth potentially his raise in the arbitration system if he continues to pitch like he has. I mean, you look at his last 11 starts, to 6.83 ERA, and he's not giving the team a chance to win. They are 1-10 in his last 11 starts as a team. I think Palante's pitching for his spot. I thought he was a lock just about 2 months ago to be into the rotation in 2026. Right now, I mean, even though they will potentially move on from Sonny Gray, they may be looking to move on from Andre Palante and look to try and find upgrades from outside the organization to replace his spot in the rotation. And then I don't know what you do with him. You can either keep him as the 6th guy because he's got options down in the minor leagues. You can push him to the bullpen. He kind of serves in the swing role like Steven Matz did. But if Andre Palante wants to be a starting pitcher for the Cardinals, to me, he's the one that's under the most pressure here in his final 4 starts of the season.
Projected to make $4 to $5 million bucks in arbitration next year, based upon where he's at right now. Would you rather have, if you're in the Cardinal shoes and you're cash strapped and you've got to kind of make decisions based upon that? I don't know if that should be the case, but, here we are.
Will be the case.
Would you rather bring back Andre Palante at $4 or $5 million bucks or go sign Jose Quintana for $4 or $5 million?
I thought you were going to say Palante or Michaelis. Because that's an obvious answer. I'd rather go Quintana.
Yeah.
He gives me more competitive, and I don't think there's any more upside with Palante.
And I think a team might need Quintana come the deadline. And then you sign him, he eats up innings.
Do you think there should be some real consideration to non-tendering Andre Palante this offseason?
I don't know if you're considering, but to me it depends. Are they going to be willing to send him down to the minor leagues?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'd keep him.
To me, you can use him as depth. You could tender him a contract, pay him $4 million. You can have him down the minor leagues because, let's be honest. If they come into the season and they use Quinn Matthews as the potential 6 man like they did McGreevy this year, okay, that's fine. But maybe you don't have the same health that you had this year. They're going to be very thin, not just at the major league, but down at AAA as well, once again, with their pitching staff. If they're willing to come to that conclusion of, hey, we're willing to send Andre Palante down, sure, I would tender him a contract. If they're going to say no, and you give him $5 million and almost locks him into the rotation, yeah, then I would say non-tender him, and then you can go out and get Quintana at $5 million on a 1-year deal.
He's Tanner Hendrickson. That's Alex Ferrario. I'm Brandon Kiley. Coming up next, we'll hit the rewind here on 101 ESPN. It is time to unlock your inner champion. The place to do so is with Victory Men's Health. Check them out today. An easy way to do so is online at victorymenshealth.com. They can help you unlock your inner champion. And that might mean something different for you than it did for me or what it mean for one of your friends. Could mean getting help with erectile dysfunction. Could mean getting help with your low testosterone symptoms. Could also mean helping you with some of that unwanted weight that you've gained that you're trying to lose. Check out all that they have to offer at victorymenshealth.com today. That's where you book that first appointment. Super easy process. Put in your name, email, phone number. Tell them BK with 101 ESPN sent you, and then tell them what it means for you to unlock your inner champion. All of this is an easy process over there. If you're feeling some of those symptoms from low testosterone, could include mood, fatigue, not getting the same amount out of your workout, just not having that same energy each and every day. They can test those levels for you at Victory Men's Health. 4 great locations. Check them out today online at victorymenshealth.com. They'll unlock your inner champion at victorymenshealth.com. Hey, you can join TMA in the return of the Lemmings Open Friday, October 3rd at Oak Valley Golf Course and Resort. It is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Get your foursome together to join Tim, Martin, Doug, and Jackson for a day out on the course. It includes breakfast from Donut Drive-In, lunch from Lion's Choice, an after party with food from Smalls Sliders, and all of your Michelob Ultra beers and seltzers. Registration open this Friday morning, tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., with a portion of the proceeds benefiting Birdies for Bipolar. Find all of the information on the Lemmings Open at 101ESPN.com. T-Bone, do you think their breakfast from Donut Drive-In will include any pancakes with some whipped cream on them?
Oh, I would hope so. Yeah.
Do you guys,
chocolate chips, too, by the way. They kind of chocolate chip pancakes, not regular.
You want exclusively the chocolate chip pancakes.
Are you baiting me into calling him when I called him during the commercial break? Because I will again.
Ferrario was kind of mean. He kind of hit a nerve. Somehow I hit a nerve on him.
We were talking about me going to Vermont next week, and I asked them if they would like any syrup. We went into syrup versus syrup, and then T-Bone said, I actually don't like syrup on my pancakes. I prefer whipped cream because I'm a child.
Yeah, no, I prefer chocolate chips and whipped cream. And I said, you put sprinkles on that too? And then I called him a loser.
I was about to say, that wasn't the end of it.
And then I called him a bad word and a loser. Hey, man, it's chocolate chips.
Tough environment.
And whipped cream.
Always.
Yeah.
Remember when Alex got here today
old.
and he didn't say a word the first 30 minutes?
I like it better when he didn't feel well.
The Tylenol is finally kicking in. I woke up. I either think I slept on my neck wrong or I talked with BK last week about how he gets migraines, and I said I never had one. I think I woke up with one today.
He was in the office, and he looked like a robot that hadn't been charged. He's just sitting there, blank stare. Every now and then would sip coffee. Didn't say a word. Now he's out here calling me a loser.
T-Bone and I did a Redbird report this morning. T-Bone's got stuff this afternoon, so we recorded it early today. It will be out on YouTube, youtube.com/101ESPNSTL shortly. And so...
Nice Les Tony way to promote it.
Yeah. We were in the office pretty early this morning, and then Alex walks in. He's a little later than normal. Not a shot, just a statement, a fact. And for the first probably 20 minutes or so, I think Alex said, other than hi, 0 words. The first 20 minutes that we were in there, which is abnormal because we're going through the rundown at that time. And he is one of the hosts of the show. So typically we expect, we go back and forth on what we're going to talk about. Nope, Alex had other things on his mind.
I was in a rough spot.
So
thanks for pointing that out.
As we finish out the show today, Alex.
You loser.
No, you're the loser. Like to
You guys are
point out
brutal.
flaws of people.
We
Sorry,
have
everybody
the
can't have
NFL
a great
back in our
morning.
lives tonight. The Eagles are at home, the defending Super Bowl champions. Crown them. They're amazing. 8.5-point favorite tonight at home against the Cowboys. Who you like in this one? Obviously, straight up, I think we're all going to pick the Eagles, but 8.5 points, you like them minus the points in this one?
No, I like the Cowboys plus the points. I think they keep it close. It's the first game of the season. As great as I think Philadelphia is, I do believe that Dallas's offense is good. I think this is going to be close. Even if it's a touchdown victory, that's still fewer than 8.5 points.
Yeah, I actually like them minus 8.5. I think they're going to blow out the Cowboys.
We have to end this show because I'm like punching territory right now.
I think they're going to blow out the Cowboys tonight. The Cowboys have been too much of a drama all offseason with the Micah Parsons thing. I just don't think their defense is going to be very good. I think the Eagles' defense will be ahead of the Cowboys' offense because you typically see that early on in the season. One thing I do like, though, I do like the under because though I think the Eagles win, I think it's like 28-10. This is set at 48.5 right now for the over-under. So I like the under, and I like Eagles minus 8.5.
I like a Saquon touchdown. I like a Jalen Hurts touchdown. I like CeeDee Lamb to go higher on his receptions. I like A.J. Brown to go higher on his receiving yards. I like to do that over on the Underdog app.
I like Dallas's kicker to go higher than 1.5 field goals made.
There you go. I do like the Eagles minus the 8.5 points in this game tonight. That would be the side that I would prefer to be on. We could go another 6 minutes if you guys would like. Take you up until roughly
TMA did another 10 minutes. That's what you're talking about.
Or I can tell you this year's Blues and Brews is only a couple of weeks away. Coming up on Friday, September the 19th at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Get fired up for the Blues season at this outdoor street party featuring live music from the Grammy-nominated trio, the band Perry, plus appearances by Blues players and alumni, food trucks, on-stage festivities hosted by Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale, and so much more. Tickets on sale right now for Blues and Brews, presented by Bud Light, 101 ESPN, 92.3 WIL, and by Scott Lee Heating Company. Find all the details at 101ESPN.com. If you guys missed any of our show today, you should check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, and the free 101 ESPN app is where you can go to find it. That is sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
We were joined earlier today by Jeremy Maclin to talk about this weekend's border war. We talked a little bit about what we anticipate learning from both the Illinois and their loss and Missouri in their win this weekend. We also talked about Nolan Gorman working his way back into the Cardinals' good graces and their plans for 2026. And finally, we talked about why the Cardinals should splurge in free agency this offseason, even though we all understand that is not going to take place. If you guys missed any of it, check it out on the podcast page. It's all over there. You can also find on YouTube, coming up here in about 5 minutes, youtube.com/101ESPNSTL, the latest edition of the Redbird Report. For Alex, for T-Bone, I'm BK. T-Bone's going to punch me shortly, and hopefully we'll be back with you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. The Fast Lane's coming up next here on 101 ESPN.